I gotta kill you, you bastard!
It's the Juk. All you see is crooks. Shout out to Havoc, good looking on the beat. Forever P. Street life was good. About to go in, son. Look, red bones and red bottoms. Like Red Bull, we gon' give them wings, we red dot 'em. Candy rappers, send 'em in, we red hot 'em. Headshot 'em, go against migraine, get head problems. Big dummy, garbage rappers, we red fox 'em. Shoot an actor in high depth and red box 'em. Tip the scales in my favor, stay in your top 10. If life's like a triple beam, I'm weighing my options. Y'all like wide meth, you high meth. Keep a big popper, cause I ain't ready to die yet. I digress, or I'm just too intense to digest. Stretched in a Pyrex, compliments to my chef. Game ain't been the same since I left. Is they really crooks or just a pain in my neck? Wu-Tang, ain't no lanes in my set. Fresh pair of Nike Airs, I just do it for my check. I'll be the first to tell these rappers, get your bars up. Shout to P, you know it's havoc when we mob up. I tell that smut, date over, pull your drawers up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up.
I swoop in, shooting like I'm paratrooping. We all in, we riding, we carpooling. My whole crew, we diving, we platooning. Salute me or shoot me, Huey P. Newton. Your buffoonery is quite amusing. This is not monkey business, stop cooning. It's a method to my madness, I know what I'm doing. There's a
Shalom.
Shalom.
Saints in the house.
Peace.
Well, we're a little bit late, but that's all right. You know what I'm saying? Our brother Alan C is going to be here with us shortly, and brother Ben is having a little technical difficulties, so he'll be back on with us. But, you know, Smashing Idol says, yes, sir. What's going on, Smashing Idol?
Peace.
Well, I don't know. We're going to get this started. It's going to be more like a sort of a peaceable discussion, but kind of like a edifying one. So we're gonna definitely touch on some things that we left out, you know, from last week. I should say left off from last week. You know what I'm saying? The title is obviously reality and on trial, metaphors and allegories. Brother Ben on. Shalom, brother Ben. We lost you for a second.
Like I've got a bad connection today for some reason, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Well,
shalom, fam.
I'm trying. I'm on location, so my signal is going to probably be a little bad too, but we'll make it work out. What's been going on with you? You've been a couple of weeks MIA.
For family problems, family things going on and stuff, and look, a lot of change, you know, with jobs and work and stuff like that, and you know, it's just things going on here. Like, this place is just crazy at the moment. You know, this world is crazy.
Yeah, it's like that. Trust me, it's like that. What's been going on? Been a lot of rain up by me. I guess the aftermath of that hurricane turned tropical storm turned bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But it's been
You must have been close. You're not actually here. We've had more rain in the first 3 months, 3 weeks, than we have had last year in the entire year. Man. So we've had more rainfall, because I live around farms. So we've had more rain pretty much than literally for years. We was going through a drought.
Let Brother Allen on. So he can know we live. If he wants to put his avatar on, he can do that now. And then I put him on. Unless he's just all right with it. He can wave his hand, then I'll know. All right. There we go.
I got to, let me see. Give me 1 minute.
Meanwhile, says, getting cold here, but a lot of sun. Smashing Idol says. I guess around your way, Brother Ben, it should be almost what? Springtime, how you would call that? Or it's just still winter time?
Yeah, it's starting to get lighter. I mean, it's still cold. It's damn cold. Like it can be like literally as cold as England if sometimes,
Yeah, that they're laying down under is on the polar opposite of us.
Yeah.
Your summer is our winter. Our
Yep.
winter is your summer. So what's been going on? I know you had a lot of current events. You have been, hitting me up lately with some things that's been going on. You know what I mean? Before we get started,
Wow,
take a few minutes and get us
it's
some
thunder,
details.
man! It's thunder. Well, in Australia at the moment, they're trying to disarm people. They're trying to take our guns. They're doing
Oh man.
everything, everything to try and get rid of our guns. They're bringing in new laws, like laws. So basically, try and strip the citizens of pretty much all of their rights. There's some crazy things going on that it looks like they're directly in correlation with what they want to do to try and encourage people to uptake the quack scene, the quack scene, So, and this new bird flu thing that's coming up, they're destroying millions of poultry in Australia.
Wow.
Millions, which means that there's shortages in certain poultry, livestock, meat, beef. They're really pushing it. They're just pushing this agenda, and it's all deliberate. It's all by design. All by design.
Yeah. It's crazy how they want to cause famine, but they want to take your arms away while they cause them.
Yep. And you know why? Because basically there's I'll just very quickly let you know, there's a proposal, and it's even on American TV. The person who's taken over from Fauci, they're pretty much saying that they want to impose forcible, quacks, scenes on everybody. So the people who got away before, they're going to concentrate on those people, especially because we're troublemakers.
Guess what? Like they tried the last time, make trouble. We'll be making more trouble.
But that's why they want to disarm us. That's why they don't want you to have anything, so you can defend yourself at all.
You gotta say, my arm is attached to my body. Don't belong to the government.
You see this little arm of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yep.
Like Brother Smashing Alice says, not a promise, but I feel a famine coming on. Too many foods spoiling too quick. Yep,
that's right.
Yep, you're right about that. And the fact that the prices of the food is substantially raised beyond the affordability is ridiculous too. You know what I'm saying? The
funny thing as well is, like, I went to the shops and I got some thigh, right? And it was like, I couldn't believe the size had shrunk by about, no exaggeration, it must have been about 25 to 30%. You could see them on
shrinkflation.
Yeah, but it's all shrunk and it's the same price. And my dogs get all the chicken and thighs and drumsticks, as well, right? So all of that's gone through the roof.
It's the only thing I can say to the people: you would be prepared for the worst, but at the same time, keep that focus on that Most High.
Yeah.
They stage all of this stuff anyway. You know how that goes.
Yep.
The world is a matrix.
Yep. It's like it's gonna keep you in the matrix. Brother Allen, I see you got your avatar up, so you must be good to go now. What's going on?
All right. Shalom, everybody. Shalom to the viewers that are now watching GOTT DOA. And hello to everyone and a toast to the people in the Hebrew Gallery. Yes. I'm here. How's everybody doing tonight?
Everybody doing good.
Yeah, we're good.
That's good. That's good.
Brother God says, DOA smash at Eric, at Eli, at Allen. I'm sure he's going to get on later on tonight, and Brother Smash and I are going to get on later tonight, so I ain't even worried about it. Great 202 says shalom. All right. Well,
it's a great show.
We got a couple of things we're going to cover. All right. One of the things is we're going to cover some of what you did a video on the other day which was very, very good for people who could understand how mythology worked. So we're going to
Yeah.
definitely touch on a little bit more of that. And like I said, I want to touch on from last week's episode where there was some discrepancies about certain scriptures, being metaphors, and we're going to explain what the metaphors are and a lot of the allegorical statements that are made in our heritage of writings, so people can understand that not everything is
Yeah.
literal just because it's literacy written. Okay, all right. Just like timelines is
Yeah.
important. They
And
have
we
to
got the
recognize timelines.
definitions for y'all and breaking. Yeah, we got the definitions for y'all, breaking it down so y'all see what it is. So when we speak on it, you can understand. So we can break it down for y'all.
hmm Like Master now says, I'd say it's a good time to study more. Who knows what will happen when the lights go out? Out. Yeah, that is correct. You got to remember, a lot of things are attributed from their New Testament. I call it their playbook. So you're gonna start seeing some things that seem to be like one for one in their playbook because that's the way they got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like their handbook of how to stage things. So it's gonna seem
Yeah.
like some of the reality of the New Testament is legit when the reality is just playbook. That's all it is. I say that over and
Yeah.
over for the reason because they take some of the scriptures that have been taken place of and they mimic them, and they rewrite them and
Yeah.
try to fit in their situations and create situations to go with. All right. Brother Allen, I'm gonna let
Yes,
you
sir.
have the stage first because on the Guardians of the Torah we had a I call it a basket nut case, fruit case guy who's going around, you know, saying that he's a Levitical priest
Oh, okay.
from Denver, Colorado, a born bred Levitical priest, Denver, Colorado. So I know you're going to get on that. I'm gonna have some fun with him because I want to know how the heck can he consider himself a Levitical priest, all right, but he's in Denver, Colorado. I mean, that's where his temple is at,
What he what day he popping what day he coming
Okay.
on?
Oh, that guy ain't coming on here.
No,
I gave
he's
him the invite. I gave him everything. He pretty much
Uh,
made a what you call a 20-second video. I ain't messing with you guys. You ain't catching me on this. He ain't coming on that platform. He's
right.
embarrassed. Embarrassed. Go
Okay.
ahead,
Yep.
brother Allen.
Sorry, I heard about this. But what's the story? Does he have any kind of proof? Is he show like flashing some kind of 2,000 year credentials or something? What's going on?
2,000 year convention.
Actually, this gentleman is a member of the GOTT, which is Guardians of the Torah, Yahweh only.
Mm-hmm.
I normally don't give names, but I'm going to give a name because I suppose, well, I believe he's actually watching. His
Oh,
name is Daniel. Um,
Daniel.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this individual is a supposed son of Aaron. He's a Kohan, he claims, a patriarch, and an elder in Zion.
Mm-hmm.
That's on his profile. I had a discussion with him about a week ago, and we were talking about different biblical texts. We were talking about the order of Melchizedek and
Mm-hmm.
how Melchizedek blessed Abraham and gave him bread and wine. Mr. Daniel said that's not a true biblical statement. That the text that has that statement was tainted, and that it was a wicked translation from the heathen. So I said, "Can you prove that? Do you have any biblical scholars, any information from any primary sources that are legitimate that states this other than yourself?" So he couldn't do it. He said he claimed that that statement of Abraham being blessed by Melchizedek, or Abraham giving Melchizedek a tithe was added in. So I used the Torah, I used the Tanakh, I used the Septuagint. He said they're all incorrect. So I said, okay. I said, if you can show
Wow.
me how it's incorrect, if you have any information from any theologians, historians, or any college professors that have, any extra books or anything that they have that can prove that that was an add-in, then I'll take that in consideration and show it to the rest of the guys in the group. He never showed me anything, so we spoke again. Right,
Wow,
we
those.
spoke again, and we asked him. Well, I actually asked him to come to the show so we can discuss it further, live on a podcast. Because when you're on the wall and you're talking about a subject this broad,
Yeah.
going back and forth, you're waiting for me to respond, and I'm waiting for you. I said, listen, let's do it live. So he did like a 20-second video and said he didn't want to mess with us. He used a little profanity, a
Wow.
little vulgar, and he said he wasn't coming on. So
Come on.
that was it. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
but the thing, the, I just want to say that the thing is that if that, like, basically, as you Americans say, those is fighting words. He comes up with something, right, and
right,
he can't back it up by anything. That's just plain. I'm sorry, but plain. How would you say, stupidity? Because you're talking before your brain can actually think, and the words are coming out, but they ain't making any sense.
right.
Would you agree?
I
Yeah.
agree. My biggest question
Yep.
was,
Yeah.
I would like him to prove, how does he know he's from the priesthood of the Levites? And he's claiming that he's a modern day Levite and he's from that, priesthood. And I like to know how. If you're going to say by DNA, DNA testing is not 100% conclusive.
Exactly.
And if you're
Exactly.
using that, I find it kind of ironic because you're talking about heathens, and the DNA system is ran by
Yeah.
heathens. So,
Yeah.
so
And it's manipulated as well. It's
But that's what I
manipulated.
be on.
All it is.
right.
So
So
go.
that's what I'm trying to understand. He
That's
contradicts himself, and I just wanted him to
Yep.
come and make a live appearance. Speak on the podium or the podcast that we have now, and explain himself. In detail. So, and he said he wasn't going to show. So I said, okay, you know what? Forget it. Don't worry about it. You know. But other than that, I mean,
yeah.
I don't particularly believe that he is a Levite, and I don't believe he's from Zion because when he does his when he does his when he does his vehicles, he's normally in his little orange jacket, and he has his hard hat on. Unless they're doing
Mhm.
construction in Zion somewhere, I don't see him.
Yeah.
I don't see him in Israel. I don't believe he's in Israel, but that's what he
That's why I
says.
said
So
people.
I
That's why I
mean,
said if people.
go ahead.
Yeah, that's why I said people be losing. No, I was saying that's why I said when people be losing, touch of reality. You know what I mean? It's like they almost. I call them straight jackets. You know what I mean? They just talking crazy. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, I call them straight jackets. I made that word. So
Right. Um, this is
they
another
start losing.
thing.
They
He
start
made a
losing
couple of
touch of reality. That's
statements.
why there's so much people out here talking, "I'm Jesus. I came back. I'm the Christ."
This,
Yeah. I
We
got
might
a
be. We
question
might
as
be
well.
lag.
Like,
We might be
and that's another
lagging
thing is like, I
something.
mean,
Like
when
I
people
know
come
when
out
I'm
with silly
talking, y'all
comments,
might don't hear me, and I'm lagging.
Yeah, you're probably lagging.
yeah, that's all right. So good. But what I was going
Uh,
to say that it just proves to you there's a lot of gullible people out there, because the thing is that if you look at have you seen the recent marches with one of the notorious purple people eater camps. I'm not going to name it, starting with I, that camp, and then
Oh,
they had all of the zombies marching in line. I'm sorry to say zombies because they're deluded, right? The same thing with this brother who's claiming to be what he's not. But
right.
people just believe anything.
Okay, so I would assume that you are talking about Israel United in Christ.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
I didn't want to name them, but the purple
Right.
people eaters, the ones that look like was it? Was it the
Just
Power Rangers? That's it, Power Rangers.
um,
Yeah,
just to be clear, the Israel United in Christ are what we would call Hebrew Christians. They're not Torah centered, and I mean I have a lot of respect for their movement, um, because they are a very big movement. But to be honest, they're really not Torah centered. So
mhm.
they represent the Old Testament and the New Testament. Now, like I tell a lot of people, when you say Old Testament, you have to be careful. Um, the Old Testament, if you look that up in definition, it says one part of the Christian Bible.
Mhm.
And if you look up the New
yeah.
Testament in definition, it says second part of the Christian Bible. So both books have been, now those books have been compromised. So those are books that we're really not supposed to use them. People think because they have somewhat of the same information in there that it is based off of the Torah or the Tanakh or even the Hebrew Bible, but they're definitely different, and that's something we have to be very careful with. Um, that is a book that, the Old Testament is the King James Bible. Now let's keep in perspective. I use a King James Bible because it is used by the general population. And
Yeah.
I started using it only because when I got into serious debates, people would say, well, do you have a KJV? I'm like, no, I have a Tanakh. It's the same. No, no, no. If you don't have a KJV, I don't even want to deal with you. So based on that, I started using it, but I don't use it in my studies. I use it like when we're talking now because it's generally accepted by Christians and Hebrew Christians and some Hebrews.
Mhm.
Okay, but like I said, in my personal studies, I do not use that text. um, I want to get back to Mr. Daniel, and he had some serious allegations that he brought out, and I like to address them. If you're listening, Daniel, you never responded. Uh, One of the reasons Mr. Daniel said he would not come on this platform is because he said we had a heathen woman teaching on this platform, and when I asked him, I wanted him to prove what heathen woman was teaching us on GOTT DOA. Uh, First bulletin or first bullet, number one. Um, this is not a misogynist group. There are women that come on, in the gallery and they make comments, which I don't have a problem with, but there is no women teaching on this platform, which I wouldn't have a problem if a woman came on this platform and teach if she was Torah centered. But if anyone else wants to come on and wants to speak about what their belief is, I don't have a problem with that either. Because, like I said, this is not a misogynist group. Um,
Exactly.
we are not ISUPK. Okay. The next thing I want to tell him, because he said, he wouldn't come on here because we have heathens teaching. Based on the Hebrew scriptures, Yahweh at one point began to deal with heathens. Now, what I told him also do is to look up the word heathen. It only means nations, which means going. And like I said, the creator started dealing with them. All he had to do was read the book of Isaiah, chapter 56, 6 through 8. And the reason why the creator started dealing with nations is because he got tired of dealing with the Israelites who constantly started worshiping other deities. So he started dealing with the other nations, and that's spoken about in, like I said, Isaiah 56 verses 6 through 8. Okay, so that's basically what I wanted to bring out. Um, as for now, I'm going to silence myself, and I'm going to, as you would say, pass the mic.
Well, I'm gonna get a little bit more enhanced on this situation too. The thing is, we do have females, in our gallery. That's part of the DOA platform. You know what I mean, and not saying that they are commissioning their beliefs or whatever. So this platform, number one, is a very open platform when it comes down to studying of the Torah. In the Hebrew writings, number one. So to actually put a limit on the female side of things, that would not be something that we do here. Okay. And I don't know what he does in his congregation because he claims he's a little priest. I mean, that's his business. You know what I mean? But I don't see anything in any of the writings that the Hebrews deal with that says, well, women are supposed to just be quiet. I mean, I know that in the New Testament, you read some of that junk, but you got to consider a lot of us, we were raised by our mothers or grandmothers, so how would that look to actually, go that route and say females shouldn't be doing this and that? Now, as far as the heathens go, you got to remember the world, the Most High created the entire world, okay? Just because, our book is mainly a Hebrew saga book or tell of the history of the Hebrews or Israel, does not mean that the so-called heathen, which is actually a word that comes from the heathen, it just means nations, to be honest with you, nations, all right? Genesis 10 will tell you that, somebody will look that up. Now, to turn around and say, well, we have them on this platform teaching, I never had anybody on this platform yet as a heathen that was teaching anything. There might have been a couple of heathens that came out on the gallery and popped on, but you know how they lasted, right? So I don't know what's going on with that brother. I think that brother has just got what you call camera shyness. He can say all of this stuff, in the backlogs and comment section, type. It's just that when he was put on the spot, obviously I put him on the spot, he got a little bit embarrassed, so he had to strike back. It was a little 20-second video, which if you can make anything out of it, was just a bunch of junk he was talking. No credibility. All right. I don't know if we lose anybody. No, we're still here. I think something went down. But anyway, let's talk about some of the things here. Is reality on trial. Reality versus literally the spiritual meaning of when we're reading our Hebrew scrolls. Yes, reality is important. Reality is how we live, how we base our lives and everything. But that's not always the way we communicate towards one another, all right? Sometimes we have to communicate like through different stories, whether it be poems, in modern times we do it with songs, lyrics. Sometimes we actually, what you call add things that make sense for us to understand. Understandable communication is the key word, I should say. Understandable communication, which translates to basically saying it's an allegory. I want brother, the mad scientist, meanwhile in the background, he had something up, a definition of an allegory. All right. So we can all know what an allegory is. And then we're gonna go through some of the allegories in the book. And I'm saying book because we traditionally call our scroll a book, literally. If you understand what I mean. But in reality, book, scroll, same thing. All right. Let me get his I think the screen is popping up. So we'll give it a little time. All right, yeah, you go. You want to take over for a few minutes? Explain that? brother math scientist, because I can't. I'm not on my regular computer, so I would only be struggling. But I'll read some of it. Some claims there are four types of beliefs. Ackerman,
My
1972.
my bad. You want me to start? You want?
Yeah, you be better off reading because I can hardly see it. You know what I mean?
Hold on. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna quick go through here.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me see. I'm I'm just gonna quick. I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna go to allegory since I want to go to allegory. Hold on,
Yes.
I'm gonna start on reality first too.
Yeah.
I just want to go
Do.
through. I'm gonna go through some of this real quick. So because I want to know that
Mm-hmm.
see everybody the differences. All right. So we can
Mm-hmm.
start on belief. Belief is a state or habit of mind in which trust or confidence in place in some person or thing. Her belief in God. And that's why I tell people the most thing I believe is in God. You know what I'm saying? Um, Something that is accepted, considered to be true, or held as an opinion. Um, Something believed, an individual religious or particular belief. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what we talk about when I say people believe. From conviction of the truth of some statement or the reality of some being or phenomenon, especially when based on examination of evidence. All right,
All right.
so belief is something that you're confident in, that you think that is true, even though it ain't a lot of evidence or a lot of proof in it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Matter of fact, repeat that what you just said because that's important. That's very important.
which, which
Repeat that
part?
last part. The last part.
That's a conviction of the truth of some statement or the reality of some being or phenomenon, especially when based on examination of evidence.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, right? People when they read something, for some reason, I think the literacy or the literal portion that's written on the paper comes to life in their minds, and their mind starts to see these things. And I guess how when you
Yeah.
read anyway, you're reading for context, et cetera, and you actually put yourself in the actually thing you're reading, and it becomes like a reality to you.
Yes.
All right, and if you don't uh, carefully examine all of the details, you may take it as literally exactly as written. When in reality, that part of it is not important. The message is important. You get what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
So, because in our writings, we do that quite a bit. Think about the Genesis narrative when it comes down to the Garden of Eden, the serpent, and blah blah blah, all that, etc., etc. Now, someone would say, "Well, if you believe in the Most High, then you will accept everything as written." Well, that doesn't mean that you don't believe in them when you don't accept everything as written, because you're not accepting it as written as reality.
Yeah.
Okay, you accept it as written as an example, but you're not exactly taking it as reality. Because like the story with the serpent, we know that the serpent is represented by a snake. Even though it's not really written there, you can use what you call by implication that it's talking about a snake. And we all know snakes do not talk.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a thing about snakes, unlike other animals, snakes don't really communicate beyond that little the hiss, with the tongue coming out. It's hiss.
Yeah.
Or like you see a rattlesnake, he will make that rattle sound coming from his tail, warning, etc., etc. So one would say, well, that's a form of communication. Yeah, if you look at that tail, that's a warning, but that's not coming from his mouth. Now, like what comes from his mouth is that hissing sound to let you know that he's existing nearby, blah blah blah. But that's like it's not really communication. That's just the sound that snake makes. Unlike a kitten or a cat, when he's hungry, meowing indicates to you that he's hungry or you're around. That's communication. That's from the mouth of that animal. Or a dog barking
Yeah.
because he knows somebody's nearby, alerting you, letting you know. That's a form of communication to let you know. But that's not talking to you in the tone that you would normally understand, like how we're talking now. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, not
But
having a
we
conversation
understand,
with you.
yeah, we understand when he's hungry because he does a certain pattern. So when he barks a certain way, or the cat meows a certain way, or another animal does what he does a certain way, we know he's communicating with us, but he's not communicating with us in our language. He's not communicating to us in our understanding of our language. He's communicating through his tongue, basically how they communicate with one another.
Yeah.
And if somebody can turn around and say they understand that as in clarity of our language, then hey, they'll be the first one to I
Yeah.
say, do you know what you're talking about? But
Yeah.
let's think about reality. The serpent in the garden, we know a snake can't talk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I believe, and this is just like I said, I'm not trying to alter or change what is written in the instructions, but as I grew in my studies, I looked at that particular biblical writings as a parable. Like I said, a parable is something that has a moral lesson or tells a story.
Mhm.
I don't see it anymore, and I don't mean to offend anyone. Um, that is listening that is a Torah Senate Hebrew or a New Testament believer, but I believe that the book of Genesis, or a better sheet, is more of a parable, which means it didn't actually happen. It
Right.
tells a story. The story is how sin came about and
Right.
how man, regardless if they're in paradise with the creator, they still find a way to sin. And I
Right.
believe that's the moral of the story. The,
Right.
fu-
But
the,
but save the parable portion because we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. I even
okay.
know we're gonna probably come back and forth between the Genesis narrative as far as the Garden of Eden, and we're gonna pull a couple of things out of this. So save the parable part because yes, there's parables written all over you know the Garden of Eden story that gives us a great lesson. You know what I mean? That's what you're
Yes.
supposed to pull
Yes.
out of it. You're supposed to pull out the
Right.
message, the lesson of it. Now, I think we had a brother on here before, Hard Job. You and him had that debate,
Right.
and some people they go beyond the message
Right.
and lose their rationality, like God saying irrational.
Yeah.
And when you get to that point, reality is like you're close to getting that paper soup put on your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Well, my situation with was Jarvis, Mr. Anderson, and what I wanted him to clarify for not just me, but for the rest of the Hebrews and viewers that were listening, is where did it talk about multiple deities being in Haganah? Now, Haganah just means in Hebrew the garden. I wanted him to bring that out. Then he brought out that the snake was actually a man, but he changed his mind.
Hmm.
Then he said that there was an upper God and I think a lower God. He just said so many things that were contradictory to the scripture. He was actually invoking Deuteronomy 4:2, which means he was adding to the writing. These are pre-recorded writings that came 3,000 years ago, and he wanted to add his own interpretation, which you can't do that.
Hmm.
That what that does is it taints the writings,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
something that he did.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, right? I don't want to put too much emphasis on him, but what he did, yes, that's one example of how some of people take certain things out of proportion. But
Yeah.
let's don't put him down on the mix. But what we're gonna do is utilize some of the thought patterns of how some of the people think. Like even Brother
Right.
Ricard, he's in the gallery. He says some mystic text says Satan or the adversary angel entered or overshadowed the snake to make it seem as
That's
it's
a book of Adam and Eve.
but it's not. But of course, it's not Torah. Exactly, it's not Torah.
That's a book of Adam and Eve.
See, a lot of these things, like as you read it, like from the straight up part, going to give people ideas in their minds. They're going to go wandering off into la la land. All right, and when we read like the first book of Adam, et cetera, it was an example of it. This was who written that? It's a stenographer, anyways. We call those Jewish fables, where it's just an idea of somebody came up with the idea that you know Satan was an adversary angel or whatever, and he overshadowed the snake. But like when we look at that in Torah, there's none of that written in. It's good that people put their own twist on things and then they make up their thoughts. But if they spread that out when it's not actually written, it becomes confusion to those that don't know any better.
Yeah.
He said, as it was an illusion. That's what he's saying, basically, as it was an illusion to talk.
And it's gonna show in here too that show that reality people can create their own reality that doesn't match with real reality. So now they be out of touch with real reality of everybody else. So their reality they're boxed in by their own reality, which is not everybody else reality. So now when they trying to push their reality on you, it sounds crazy because the outside knows it's not real reality. And now you have lost in touch with the real reality and created your own reality, which has made you in touch with real reality, if that makes sense.
Quack Doctor's Paradise.
Yeah, straight jacket.
Well, let's keep on going. Like you was reading on the page.
There are four types of belief, right? Ackerman examined beliefs in four different categories of behavioral belief, unconscious beliefs, conscious belief, and rational belief. Unlike behavioral belief, unconscious belief cannot be interpreted by behaviors. Behavioral belief, by contrast, would be thought of as a non-conscious rather than unconscious. Behavioral belief are important in human action where the agent encounters no difficulty. So that his belief do not require scrutiny at the conscious level. Conscious belief are any beliefs a person has explicitly formulated and is aware of. Rational belief are defined as physiological idealization of actual belief structures. Okay, so it's different types of belief system too within that type of belief. Um,
Well, let's put a pause on that for a second. I want to elaborate on that because when you read that, right? Obviously, somebody will say, "Well, that is somebody who's a non-Hebrew or such and such statement on that." Or they would say, "That's the white man." Whatever. This is what they use as their defense. No problem with that. Because if that what you utilize as your defense of why you don't want to accept what somebody else is saying, well, I get that. Well, let's go to the book of Job and we think about Job, the Job narrative. Job, if one would read on Job, knows that he was in a very tough situation, from the Most High allowing, the adversary, I'm gonna say it like that, to kind of like have the best of them, so to show that after a while, if there's a certain said, if Job was not, as what you say, as he is your servant, I believe he will curse you if you take things away from him. So the Most High allowed this, all right? He allowed the serpent to do everything, or the Satan to do everything to him, except for he didn't give him the power to kill him, right? So it's like, put yourself in his reality. Put yourself in a situation. You're going through some tough shit, right? It could actually possibly tear your mind apart. Well, Job writing is basically something like that. It's a behavioral type of writing. It's philosophy of how he acts upon certain physical things and mental things that took place against him. So when you have that situation now, you got to think it's going to take you to that level of your mind is almost like reality mixed with pain of whatever is going on. So you're going to think about things like the afterlife, things of, well, why is this happening to me? You know what I mean? Kind of be delusional, etc., etc. I'm not saying that Job was a delusional character or anything, but just letting you know that's how behavioral systems work, also, in non-conscious and conscious beliefs work.
Yeah.
I'll let you continue. I had to stop
Yeah.
for
Because
that.
people could see that. That's why I like breaking them down to different beliefs. Because when people say belief, they don't understand that there's different types of belief. And and anybody that keep trying to say, "Oh, the white man made it." Listen, when you don't say belief, then because that's who made it their word that you use. And they stop telling me because that's who said belief. That's the definition you going off. Okay, so I hate when they do that. But
Mhm.
let me go to the next one. Let me see here. Based upon literature review of beliefs, define belief as an individual judgment of truth or falsity of proposition, a judgment that can only be inferred from a collective understanding of what human beings say, intend, and do. Anthropologists, social psychologists, and philosophers have agreed upon the commonly accepted definition of beliefs. Beliefs are thought of a psychology, psychologically held understanding, premise, and proposition about the world that are felt to be true. In additional settings, define beliefs as one convictions, philosophy, tenets, or opinions about teaching and learning. See, and that's what I try to tell people when I say I believe in God, I think I have a real understanding and real truth in it, because we can talk about things like the sun is be placed in order, the universe, the
Mhm.
how humans was created, how the trees and the sun work together, how the ocean works, how the animals, how we, for you to tell me a big bang happened and two atoms crashed and they just created all this order, it makes less sense to me. That's more of a belief system than you saying in the religious, because now you're telling me two atoms just float around, they crash, and they just start creating things. That just don't make sense to me because it's too much order. You know what I'm saying? So when they say order comes out of chaos, I just don't see how. So
Mhm. All right. Before you move on, I know you're going to end up touching on it anyway. I want I
okay,
want to actually read something, and maybe if I
yeah,
could just share the screen real quick, then we'll put you back on the screen. I'm trying to do this with the
okay.
with a single monitor this
I think I
time.
could
So
drop it down.
no, you can leave it on the side. I don't know if
Drop
it
it
showed
down.
up or not. Just let me know that it came up on the screen. I have to go with, yeah, it came up. All right, I'm gonna read something from just a Google search. But remember, if it's
Yeah,
not correct, I'm going to let you know that it's not correct. If I agree with it, pretty much, if we can agree with this writing, even though it's not something that's written in the actual scriptures, but we have an understanding of it, that should be just enough as acceptance. All right. It says an allegory. It's a dictionary. Generic. It says it's a story, a poem or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically moral or political one. And in our case, when you're looking at it through our heritage, it wouldn't be so much political, but it would be mean more of something that's moral to us, or have some type of what you call deeper meaning that we could draw from. All right. And on the other side, it says allegory narrative, whether in prose or verse, in which a character, place, or event is used to deliver a broader message about real world issues and occurrences. All right. It's not hard. Wikipedia. As a literal device or artistic form, an allegory is a narrative or visual representation in which a character, place, or event can be interpreted to represent a meaning with moral or political significance. Authors have used allegory throughout history in all forms of art to illustrate or to convey complex ideas and concepts in ways that are comprehensible or striking to its viewers. In other words, understandable communication, understandable concept, understandable writings. Make it so that the regular layman have an understanding, a deeper connection with it. I mean, did anybody have any disagreements with that?
Yeah.
All right, I'll put yours back on the screen.
No, no. I mean, that's basically what I had on. Yeah, it's the same. It's about the same thing what I said.
No, like I
Um,
said, I don't know what you
yeah.
had
See,
in
cause
your list, so I just wanted to say that. You know what I'm saying?
oh no, no, I agree. I agree with it. Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. I agree with it. But I just see what I just what I'm just doing is just going because I want the people to understand what belief and react because I just believe people say a lot of words and they don't be understand what they be saying. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So that when people say belief, you got to really understand what you mean when you say belief. When see people say
And we have to we
reality,
have
we got to understand what reality means.
we have to do this way because you know what it is. A lot of times when we do like complex topics like this, people take that as
Yeah,
well. Maybe these guys don't have the strong belief that what they're reading is real. No, we believe in the Most High, His writings,
yeah,
and everything else. But we're just saying that the conception of it that goes through our
yeah,
thoughts are a little bit more advanced that
yeah,
we are not getting wrapped up in like all of the literal
yeah,
things
yeah,
that when you read, we don't get,
yeah.
need to be put on or thin.
If you ask all four of us on this, you ask all four of us on this panel about the Adam and Eve story, all the four of us will basically say the same thing. It's a story about how we believe that sin came into the world. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
While the average person is going to argue if the snake talked, if Adam and Eve was real, but they missing the point of the moral of the story. If you don't have the moral of the story, then you don't know nothing. You ain't learned nothing
That's
because
right.
you're gonna be arguing about that all day. You see what I'm saying? And that's when we get into other stories, we can start seeing and say, okay, maybe this has a moral to it. Because we're not saying every single thing in here is not literal. We saying some stuff in here is not literal, some stuff is symbolism, some stuff is mythology, some stuff is allegory, some stuff is metaphors, some stuff is parables.
Mhm.
That's why this is the greatest book ever if you really understood how to read it. And this is what we're
Mhm.
trying to say. We're trying to say we love this book, and this is one of the great. This is the greatest book ever. Not that we don't believe in it or love it or don't like it or don't. We saying we understand it, and when you understand it, you go. It's gonna be even greater than you just believing in it. Okay.
Mhm. And
So
allegories is the biggest biggest portion of when we read. It's one big giant allegory.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Has a great
yeah,
message. I'm gonna leave it at that. Go ahead.
yeah.
Go back. Take it over again.
All right. Then I'm gonna go to knowledge. So knowledge is another concept widely discussed in the literature. The definition of knowledge as a term can be traced back to the time of Socrates. Plato suggests that knowledge has the components beliefs, truth, and justification. In
Hmm.
the traditional physiological literature, knowledge depends on a truth condition that is being agreed upon in a community of people. Based upon the definition, knowledge is a belief that meets two conditions: the truth of what is believed and the justification someone has for believing it. Let me see. Scott Charlotte and Hare stated that beliefs are a category of knowledge and define knowledge as encom- um, encompasses encompasses that a person knows or believes the truth, whether or not it is verified as true in some sort of objective and external way. So this is what I was saying earlier about knowledge is part of belief because what this presentation was talking about reality, knowledge, and that I based on was knowledge, reality, and belief. And I was showing that you actually can entwine all three. Because people think, oh, because if you got a fact, you can't believe. If you got belief, you can't have facts. You can have all three, and you can have all three in together. So knowledge, that they telling you, knowledge is a part of belief and it's truth, and the part you believe in, you have a justification for believing in it. The same way I just said, I believe in the Most High because of certain situations that I feel like I believe in the afterlife because of certain situations that I feel like is justification for me for believing. You see what I'm saying? But there's no justification in me believing animals talk. It's no justification. It does not does not do nothing for our people. It do not help our people do nothing. It does. There's no moral to it. It's nothing really to even be arguing over of if animals talking that. You see what I'm saying? So what he's saying, if you're going to do believe in something that have justification, has messages to it, has a morals to it, and be able to pass on to your people. All right.
Can I add something as well to this conversation as well?
Yeah, you got.
This is open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, I mean, basically, I mean, it's like I did post something this week actually on the forum about how Christianity, like the Christians, the nuns, the priests, during the slave trade, they actually profited from the slave trade. Where I'm going with this is now they bought our people Christianity. So that kind of like brainwashing, that kind of like a narrative saying, "Lord, look, this Jeebus is for everybody. He's your God too." And after they start to say, "Look, that the sky is red," for 100 years, 200 years, 400 years, then everybody starts to believe the sky is red. You understand what I mean? Because it's a continually preached narrative. It's a belief. It's not true, but it's a belief. So it's like the same thing. Another modern example of how when you parrot something or when you believe something when it's not actually reality, right? Is what they did during the pandemic. Exactly the same thing. And so this is very relevant today, just as much as it was, a couple of thousand years ago.
Yep. Because the greatest belief, the most destructive belief that the Christianity has gave us is that somebody is coming to save us, which made us stop worrying about saving ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So we sit here and say, "Oh, this gonna happen to us. We ain't gonna never do this. This ain't gonna never happen because we just waiting for this person to come." And this, you know what I'm saying? Instead of understanding that,
I think, brother, the biggest thing that people don't realize is that the illusion, right? The rug was pulled over our eyes when they said their God is our God.
Yes.
Their God has nothing to do with us, but they actually got people who refuse to see, even after all of the proof is presented to them, that the God that these nations present to us is an illusion. It's not your God. It's their God.
100.
Well, the thing is, there's problems with allegorical, interpretations anyway, especially with how it places things on the mind. You know what I mean? The meaning is, like rare incidents. It was never really intended for the person to take those things to begin with as literal. Okay, that's what the problem is. People read too deeply into it, and in their minds, they're taking it as the literal meaning of it is more important than the actual message. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's where the problem starts, and the arguments start. The teeth start coming out of the mouth, and the spit start flying. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to understand that allegories have to be used sometimes because guess what? Emphasis of studying certain things, you need some type of form to convey to the person that doesn't know any better. You get what I'm saying? I mean, and all of us obviously have passed that stage. You know what I mean? As a child, when you was growing up, allegories was used all the time. Those things we use all the time. Think about the kids love to come home to watch the Saturday morning cartoons. You know good and well that animals didn't talk, dolls didn't talk, you know what I'm saying? Animation of things didn't actually talk. But you later on, I hope you did. Grew that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you mature.
I don't think some people did. I mean, I think when people look at Shrek, they think that donkey could really talk. I mean, the way people would be saying, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they used to have the show back in the 50s called, what's the name? Ed. What's it?
Oh yeah, the horse you talking about,
yeah, and it was cute. It was cute. Mr. Ed. It was cute.
Yeah.
But in reality, that's it's not reality. You get what I'm
No,
saying?
no, no, it's not.
Definitely
He
not.
made think about it. If you watch Mr. Ed, if you ever watched that show, that was one thing that Horse did was give good conversation. There's a lot of learning things, but you got to remember it wasn't a real horse talking, but it
Yeah,
No.
made sense. You know.
but
Now I know when we get to numbers, we're going to read about that situation that comes up with
yeah,
what's the name, but we're going to touch on it from a different perspective so that people can gain a little bit more understanding of. He opened the horse's mouth or the donkey's mouth. Does that mean that the donkey spoke clear Hebrew or clear English? No.
now that's crazy. Dougie was talking speaking Hebrew. That's so crazy.
Oh yeah.
hmm and,
Yeah,
and not to knock somebody who believes that. Let's don't knock them also because
nah,
sometimes
no,
sometimes when you do that, you kind of like you discourage that person. No, you want them to understand that not everyone is on that level as their thought process. So
yeah.
that's where we don't want
And
to go
some
deep
people,
into that.
and yeah, some people tend to be, some people tend to be so rude and aggressive that we try to that sometimes they can make you come against them, but you coming against a whole people that ain't do that to you, so it make it seem like that we're bashing belief people when we're not. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm trying to, get them to understand. I understand what belief because all of us have belief in us. We still have it in us. I believe in the
Mhm.
afterlife. I can't prove it's afterlife. I have evidence, so that's where it fits in more of knowledge because I can say I believe in the afterlife, but I can show evidence of it. I can show near death experiences. I can show people that died and came back and see what they experienced. So I have enough evidence to for me to say my belief is stronger than just me not knowing and just believing in it. Because that's why I says different forms of belief. It's a belief where you don't have no evidence, you just believe everything. It's a belief that well, I believe something because of something. You see what I'm saying? And then you have belief to where you can prove it. See, people don't understand that too. Like I can, you can, we can. Scientists go off of belief first, what they call theory, and then they study and research on it, and then it might become true to where it become a fact. So that belief turns into a fact. So belief
Mhm.
can become a fact too. Just not all of it. So you know what I
You
mean?
got you got to also remember parts of scripture, right, could be allegorical in nature, right, and then parts
Yeah,
of it are also literal in nature.
exactly.
So they have to understand that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's why I did mythology because I want because mythology, all of this is wrapped up inside of mythology. We breaking down now. I broke
Right.
down the mythology as a whole, but this is the inside of it that makes that mythology complete. Because the
hmm
whole thing of a mythology has this all in it, and that's why
hmm
we breaking it down like that to the allegory, to the metaphor, to reality, to belief.
hmm
Because a story, as far as metaphorically, I mean mythology does not have to be 100. It's not 100% fake. Some parts is symbolism. Some parts is a message. Some parts have history in it. Some parts have
Symbolism,
science in it.
symbolism is another word too.
Yeah. So
Symbolism is another word.
yeah,
You got to remember, you have to use sometimes. Think about it. The paleo writing itself uses symbols, right?
yeah,
Symbols. How do you think that's the way that form of formulated communication within
yeah,
one another through
yeah,
symbols? You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's
I
the
got
same way.
hey Shalom. I got a question also too, just to add a little spice to the mix.
Mhm.
so, so
Uh,
yeah. So, what would you say? Where does the dream come in? Fit in
Oh, I
between that
love that. I love that. That's a good
because
Yeah,
that
question.
has all that wrapped up in the same also. So,
hmm
yeah,
hmm Well, I want you to hold to that thought because I'm going to address that when we get to that later on because we're going to talk about two different forms. We're going to talk about day vision and we're going to talk about night vision. Both are dreams. Both are
yeah,
visions. The
yeah,
person
oh
has
yeah,
like a daydreamer is a form of a day vision. It's like you vision things like your mind is visioning from
yeah.
reality
I'm a daydreamer
into
myself.
you
Yeah,
know what I
so
mean.
yeah,
right.
And we're going to show how that works too. You know what I mean.
yeah.
So
I could be staring. I could be staring out, and then people could be right in front of my face, and I have to snap back. so
Mhm.
um. So this is like just to break down the difference between the belief and stuff of what they saying, and knowledge. Virtue, supposition, and commitments and ideologies do not require a truth condition based on evaluation. Judgment cannot be evaluated. Um, uh, Episodically stored material influenced by personal experiences or cultural and institutional sources and static. So, like I said, there's different types of, and but the belief, the main belief that most people have is, like I said, that don't have, can't be evaluated. It cannot be. It does not have evidence to it. Like when somebody say God can make an animal talk or animals talk, and that's why I said they can't prove that. I mean, when I say can't prove it, meaning they can't go through science, they can't show it in history. The only thing they have it is inside of the book. They don't even have it in the reality to the day. They never felt the animal that had it. So that's what I mean. That's a straight just belief. And I told him that's fine, and that's like I tell people that's fine, as long as you know it's belief. See, when you start arguing with the fact, that's when there's a problem. When we know for a fact ain't no animal talk because we ain't no evidence, and then you come and say no animals can talk, and so now you're trying to push non-reality on people that know reality that it doesn't. So that's when the problem comes. You cannot put belief over top of fact. You cannot. It does not post a fit over top. Belief is when you can't factually prove it. I believe in God, even though I cannot prove it 100%. I believe in the Most High. You see what I'm saying? Because the evidence to me is how we created, how the world, like I said, how everything is organized, how stuff is made. I don't think like just imagine, like look at how birth is created. Look how the woman creates, has a baby in her. Look how like our this little sperm you put inside of her, fuse it together, make an embryo, make a fetus, and turns into a baby. We have been doing this so long, we don't even understand how special that is anymore. You see what I'm saying? That's a special thing. We are the greatest machine ever made on earth, and people don't look at it like that because we got these people out here telling you you're not no greater than nothing else, and you was made from atoms and blew up and made you. You know what I'm saying? Because they mad because they blame God for something, and now they want to create this false narrative on them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge refers to factual propositions and understanding that inform skillful action, must satisfy truth condition based on objective fact, can be evaluated or judged, stored in semantic networks, and often changes. So knowledge can often change too, and that's what I said is a part of belief, but it's a belief that you can actually have evidence on, and there's a reason why you believe in it, and it actually becomes factual. So this is now we're going to reality right before, and this is right before we go into the metaphors. But reality is the world of a state of things as they actually exist, as opposed to idealistic, idealistic, and notional idea of them. So I'm gonna break down what these words mean. Idealism, the practice of forming or pursuing ideas, especially unrealistic. Okay, notional, uh, theoretical perspective, uh, existing in the mind only, imaginary. So this is reality is the opposite of these two things:
Mm-hmm.
realistic and imaginary.
Mm-hmm.
So remember them two words. Okay. Now we're going to get to uh, let me see. Yeah, the different realities.
But
I
hold
ain't
on,
gonna
pause,
stay too
pause,
long
pause,
on
pause,
this,
pause,
but
pause, pause for a
they are
second.
in
Pause
fact
for a second.
three different.
Pause for a
Okay.
second. I want Brother Allen, or someone to pull out First Samuel chapter 12.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Um, First Samuel.
Yeah, it
Okay.
doesn't have to be. It could be any different manuscript. I got it with the Septuagint, but I want to you to read just the first four verses. You know what I mean?
Okay.
As it is written, the first four verses, and I want us all to listen closely to this, and then we're gonna all participate in this thing and ask a few questions because this pertains to a lot of the things that he's about to talk about, especially objective reality, subjective reality, and subjective reality.
Okay, you said First Samuel, what verse?
Chapter 12, 1 through 4. Just 1 through 4. Just like an example.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna read uh the book of First Samuel, chapter 12.
Mm-hmm.
This reading will be done out of the Hebraic Roots Bible, and I'm going to start right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Samuel said to all Israel, behold, I have heard your voice to all that you say to me, and I made a king to reign over you. And now, behold, the king is walking before you, but I am old and gray. And behold, my sons, they are with you, and I have walked before your face from my mouth until this day. Behold, I am here, testify against me before Yahweh and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken, and whose donkey have I taken, and whom have I offended?
All right,
Whom
that's
have
all
I
you.
crushed?
That's all you need. That's all you needed.
Okay,
Just that little bit there. Now let's look at that objective reality. He said nothing in there that our minds would turn around and says could not happen that took place. Right?
right.
He used the donkey there. He used. He said their faces was before him. Right? Nobody
Right.
has no problems with understanding that. And
Yeah.
all Israel, he hearkened to all of their voices. Right?
Right.
Now we have no problem with that because it's nothing that's really like out of normality or what you call it subjective reality. Now think about though, is it is anything in that statement that you read considered false for our minds to be able to understand? Because like all of Israel, we know good and well that all of Israel, right,
Mm-hmm.
might not have been represented when he was talking to them, right? And you certainly didn't hear all of their voices, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So why people have no problems with that, right? And not questioning certain like things like that. But then when you go with that situation with the donkey in numbers, all of a sudden it becomes a dispute just because two people out of four people don't believe donkeys can speak versus two people out of those four people believe that donkeys speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I would think because a lot of our brothers and sisters that read the Hebrew Bible, they take a lot of the literature as 100% literal. They
Mm-hmm.
don't take in consideration that some writings could be metaphorical, or they can be a parable, or they could be inconclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't think the same. Everybody's not taught the same.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the differences when the creator is talking as far as, you know, himself instead
Mm-hmm.
of somebody's talking with him. People take some passages and the way it's written in the Old Testament, in certain passages in Isaiah, you would think it would be the creator with somebody helping him.
Mm-hmm.
Where in actuality, if you look in the Hebrew writings, it's saying just the creator by himself. I'll give you an example. If you go to in the Old Testament, if you go to Isaiah, not Isaiah, Exodus chapter 15, verse 3, it says, Yahweh is a man of war.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the Hebrew Bible, it says the creator is a warrior.
Ah,
So,
I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that.
yeah.
That,
If you
no,
go, yeah,
that's very good. You see how naturalist came out like this
right,
discussion? I chose that first Samuel 12 because I knew that you was going to go to that route and being Alan, I know you was going to do that anyway. But
right,
this matches up exactly with what he's given to talk about with different realities. There are in fact three different types of realities. All
right,
right. Now I want him to now home in on to those definitions. So that a lot of
Okay.
us still not going to get it, but
Yeah.
hopefully most of us understand this.
Yeah. Okay. We go to it. All right. Objective reality. Objective reality is the gold standard of scientific standard of what is real. It
Mhm.
describes anything that is measurable, observable, and what exists even if human beings did not.
Right.
Examples would be physical laws, physical
Mhm.
stuff. If you are holding an orange, you can eat said orange.
Absolutely. That now stop. Let's home in on this with all of us, like from last week. Somebody like I'm on the side where donkeys can't talk. Alan was on the side, donkeys can't talk. I think you was on the side, donkeys can't talk. We are
Yeah.
more on the objective reality side. That's the scientific standard or gold standard, you know how they word it, or for what is actually reality, what is real.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, we tell you the truth, almost every human being on the planet has a little bit of that in them, whether they
Yeah.
want to to acknowledge that or not. You get what I'm
I,
saying?
I think most people have it outside of the Bible. I just think when they get inside of it, for some reason they lose the objective reality. It just goes away. But outside of it, because if I told them a donkey talk to me, or I walked on water, they gonna try to put me in a mental place. So, but just
Mhm.
because it says it in there, they think it's they lose that part of reality, and I don't. That's why I say I don't understand because we got 1,500 we got 15 people out here that say they Jesus, and I said, how you know ain't none of them Jesus? You see what I'm saying? Because you don't think this is how Jesus is supposed to come back. But if you believe him so much, how would you know when he come back? You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because you only really believe what the Bible is telling you. What if that man was homeless and sitting outside on the corner and you thought he coming out the sky? You don't know when he coming because you just believe everything the book
Mhm.
says. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So
Not to down the book because the book
no,
is
no,
flawless. The book is flawless.
yeah,
The
it's the
problem is
understanding of the
the
people.
understanding of it is
Yeah,
the problem.
yeah,
The understanding of the problem. Like if they don't have no objective thoughts behind certain things, that could be dangerous for their mindset. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's why I don't like this. What I don't like when someone turns around and says, "Well, you don't believe in such and such because you don't believe that God can do everything." Well,
Right.
you're not saying God can't.
So,
He gives us a mind to know better too.
okay, I like to bring this out, talking about things of that nature. I'm going to bring out a scripture, and I'm going to use two statements or two verses from the scripture, and I want you to tell me what type of scripture this is. This
Okay,
is in the book of Isaiah, uh, chapter 59. I'm going to start with verse 1 and go 1 and verse 2. Okay? And this reading will be done out of the proper name version of the King James Bible. And I'm going to start right now. Isaiah 59, verse 1. Behold, Yahweh's hand is not shortened, that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy, that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hidden his face from you that he will not hear.
Hmm.
hmm
That sounds
Now,
like modern day hip hop. The way people are using their,
right.
but
So,
people, if people don't understand that type of
so,
thought
it,
pattern, that type of prose, that type of way that
right,
the writer had written that, like how Isaiah, I have to say Isaiah because that's Isaiah's scroll. But you know me, I'm going to say
right,
that that's not actually Isaiah. That's one of his either students or followers, which is at 59. But this is how people have to understand the writings itself. The author of that writing itself is putting it in such a way, in such a form, you know what I mean, to make it clear to the people at that time.
right.
But you apply objective
Makes
reality,
sense.
you know good and well that that's
That's why I said the
everything.
first thing people should do, these people should do, is study the culture, ancient cultures, and understand when you study Israel culture, study the Mesopotamian culture, study the Canaanite culture, study the Babylonian culture, study the Egyptian culture, because all of them had this metaphor, these allegories. They had these type of things in their stories. For people think that the Israelites were different. They won't. They're called. This is how it's just like today. Everybody does the same. We have the same type of thing today in the modern times. It's like other countries do the same thing we do. You see what I'm saying? So in that time, this is how stories was written to preserve it. Again, it's to preserve the stories. It's to preserve their culture. One didn't know how sin was came in, so they had this story to say this is how sin came in. They passed it on to and they passed it down. They passed it down. This is how their culture believed. You go to another ancient culture, they believe this is how stuff happened. They believe this is how creation happened. They believe this how this stuff because this is how, the first thing you have to understand is the culture of people. Then you can understand their writings. That's why when the Greeks and all them started coming in, they couldn't understand because they wasn't monotheistic. They would believe in all these different type of gods and they worshiping planets and all this stuff. So they couldn't understand the way that we wrote and how we could worship only one God and one Most High. And they tried to put that stuff in there through the translation. And that's why they had to go to make a whole creative book called New Testament, where they put all their gods in this one being. But I ain't going too far in that.
No,
But
no, 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 no.
yeah,
You're making a point. You actually kind of like said what I was going to say because when you said that part about the earlier portions of the Babylonians and Mesopotamia, all those different things, people would get it twisted because if you look from the hard job, he'll think that what we're saying is that all of these different nations have their own creative story and we all came from that one center, but they don't understand their reality is similar. Their stories are similar because guess what, their cultures is like human mankind, so there's going to be similarities.
But now what we're doing, just for the viewers to know and the people in the gallery and others who are listening, we are not saying that the Torah or the Tanakh is not a book of truth. But you have to realize that it's a book of literature and it uses different styles of writing and penmanship and how it's been written and used to make a point of view.
Correct. The bells and whistles that the book has is a lot. Okay? A lot. It has used a lot of different examples to get their mind to understand. All right, go to your next page. Because we don't want to stay on objective reality because we got to give them what they also think about subjective reality. Go ahead.
And I just want to say one thing too. If sin, like just like the Adam and Eve thing was sin, okay, their culture thought this is how sin was made in. So if an atheist come and say that's not how sin came in, but I bet you if you ask him how sin came in, he can't tell you. See what I'm saying? Because nobody really knows. It's a story to keep a preserve of how you believe that God created this sin and has sin. Well, not God created, but how sin came in, and we believe that humans created sin and not the Most High by disobeying them. See what I'm saying? So subjective reality. Subjective reality is what you believe. Others can believe the complete opposite and will still be fine. Subjective reality is a gradient scale with a few people believe in one extreme, a few the other extreme, and most people in between. There is usually abundant evidence to support all positions on the scale. The most simple example are straight up beliefs. Some people have useful beliefs about something, others have limiting belief about the same thing.
That's why I call it a teeth pulling party and a spitting contest. Reality is exactly what that is. When you have someone, I believe that this what's going on is real. I don't know what you talk about. You just don't believe in the whole book, or you don't believe this and that. You don't believe it. That's where the problems start. Right? Subjective, because it's all subjected to the person's belief. What I mean? It doesn't mean because you believe more in debt than I believe that I don't believe the story of the book is truth.
Yeah, that's why if you kept hearing me say when he said I believe that animals talk, and I say I know animals don't talk. See, that's a difference what I'm saying because if I say I believe animals will talk, then none of it is fact. Meaning he can say that animals can talk, and I can say, and nobody can say that's not true. But I'm saying it's a fact that animals can't talk because you have no complete evidence. That is straight belief, and his belief could not go against fact. belief and belief can. Therefore, when both people believe, that means either one is not completely right. You see what I'm saying? So until you find me an animal that can talk, then my fact turns into a belief then, or my fact. You see what I'm saying? So other than that, belief and belief can be like somebody believes in the afterlife, somebody don't believe in the afterlife. Meaning both of them really don't know. So it's a belief
Neither
between
one.
both.
That's why when I was talking about, I did that little teaser, that David teaser. It was for a reason, because you know what? A lot of things we deal with in our book, we're not going to be able to prove it until a
Yeah,
situation comes up. You know what I mean? I can't tell you what's going to happen after we shut our eyes in our final time. Will there be an afterlife? I believe there will be,
yeah.
but can I
I
prove
hope.
that? I
I
can't
really
prove
hope.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hope.
that's another thing. We have to hope too.
Yeah, I
You know,
hope.
some people, I've seen it where some people think that, you know what, when we're gone, and we happen to pop up again, and another person. That's reincarnation. That's your belief. That's
Yeah.
not my belief. You
And
get
that's
what
why I
I'm
said they better be careful because Hindu reincarnation, you could come back as an animal or a dog or a cricket if you don't live right in life. So you better, you better hope that when you
saying?
come back as a human. That's all I can
I,
tell you.
I, I actually don't really like to see debates that go on with these type of topics, because you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what, it's
I tell people
stupid.
two things I don't debate on is stuff I believe. I don't debate on is afterlife. I don't believe in, and I don't debate on the Most High. Them two things I don't debate on because that's personally for me. That's a personal thing to me. I'm not debating you over that. Cause
Mhm.
you ain't changed my mind. I want to believe there's something after this. And I want to believe in the Most High, and there ain't nothing go ever, it never ever changed. I believe the Most High since I was born. I can't remember when I didn't believe in the Most High.
Mhm.
Uh,
Well, you think
uh,
about it. I deal with, like, almost this week. I don't know if Smashing Idol noticed it. I was in the backstage waiting to go on the platform with JJ 7000. He had gave me a heads up that he wanted me to do an interview basically on one of the comedic dudes. You know, obviously those guys didn't show up, but I was going to dig into their masses. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But you know, that's just DOA. They put it like that. But that's the same situation. You
And
know
see,
what
but
I mean?
it's crazy because they try to call us religious, but Egyptian. If you go to college, right? My boy went to college. If you go to History 101, some of them books tell you that Egyptians was the first religious people. They believed in the afterlife. They try to make it seem like these Egyptian people would just believe that everything was fact. No, they had belief. They had temples. They had deities. They had religions. You see what I'm saying? So these
That's the
people
key
were just
word
as
there,
religious as anybody
religious.
else.
How deep a person becomes, how more religious a person becomes more how they intertwine into their belief. That goes with that other subjective reality. To be quite honest, now
Yeah,
you're talking now
yeah,
on the one that's in the middle, intersubjective reality.
yeah. Intersubject reality is a special subset of subjective reality. It describes things that exist because we collectively believe they exist to the point
Mhm.
where we almost consider them objective reality. Example include money, religion,
Mhm.
fame, celebrity, and laws.
Mhm. You can easily pull a few things from the real world, and do that
Yeah,
examples of that. You know what I mean? But it's all self-explanatory anyway. To be
yeah.
honest with
Because what they're saying is money is not money. We made this into reality because we took it to where we made it almost objective to where we fit it into our reality, where it became a part of our reality. Because we know
you.
money is not real. Money is
Really
something that we
not.
put and created, and now when we follow this money, now we have to depend on this money, and we can't live without this money. But this money
Mhm.
was created into
Mhm.
our reality. Religion, fame, celebrity, laws was created to other than the physical, the natural laws and the stuff like that, the real laws that the Most High created. But we're talking about laws that like I tell people, people
Brother
can talk
Ben, brother
about.
Ben, you know, I would turn around and say, like how those in the New Testament believe in fish.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, itches. That Greek
All right.
itchy fish.
Now here we go right here.
Oh,
Metaphors.
here we
Okay.
go. Here we go. Like
All
this.
right. Now I got two metaphors. I got the metaphors, and then I'm gonna break. And then I went to hold on. I think I'm gonna see if I got it right here. Uh-oh. Oh no. Hold on. Come on back up. Okay. Then I got a biblical metaphor, so we can break it down and show you exactly what it means. Okay. All right. So let me go to it. Come on. Come on. All right. Then we get to the word. All right. Metaphors.
Hmm.
All right, you're a peach. We all heard the expression, and it's a good example of what we call metaphor. A metaphor is a figure of speech in which a word or a phrase denoting one kind or object or action is used in place of another to suggest a likeness or analogy between them. The person being addressed it, you're a peach, is being equated with a peach, with the suggestion being that the person is pleasing and delightful in the way that the peach is pleasing and delightful. Okay,
Hmm. It's basically, it's like
so
I said
the
earlier,
spirit,
understandable communication. Go ahead.
yeah, the spirit, the dove, the cloud, fire, breath, wind, water, and oil are all metaphors for the spirit in the Old Testament. For example, God's fire appears in a burning bush to call Moses. The spirit's presence is seen in the wind and water.
To
And we're going to
show
break that
the
down in a minute.
attention, to bring your attention to. Let's think about it.
Yeah,
You said that Moses' attention was gave to what's this damn thing over here is burning. But why is it burning? His
yeah.
attention was drawn to it.
So,
Right?
so when they talk about metaphor, I'm gonna read this and we're gonna spread it on metaphor. Okay, but now, O Lord, you are the Father. You are our Father. We are the clay. You are our potter, and all of us are the work of your hand. In this metaphor, God is compared to a potter who molds clay. God's followers are the clay and are subject in design and influence.
Hmm.
Psalms 23 and 1. The
Oh,
Lord is our
perfect one.
shepherd, I shall
Perfect one.
not
I
want.
love this one. I love this one. Go ahead.
The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. Here is a commonly alluded to a metaphor from one of the most famous passages in the Bible. God is compared to a shepherd, someone whose duty is to look after the care for the sheep. Now, it's
Hmm.
talking about putting somebody in a category to make it fit of what they like in the streets today. We'll say a person is a snake, right? That's a
Yeah.
metaphor. We're saying he a snake.
Yeah,
they
we
some
got a
some
lot
people
of snakes, boy. We got a lot of snakes.
Some people call basketball players the goat. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know why they call it the goat. That I don't know how that fits. I guess because the goat in the word jail. You know what I mean? But that's kind of like symbolism type. But the metaphors is like putting it in how you like yeah like this like you a snake. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So like because what a snake does, a snake is real sneaky. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You gotta. That's why I say you cut the grass to get rid of the snakes. You know, all of these are type of metaphors.
Exposes this.
Yeah, so when somebody takes that literal, then they just go way out. They just go they have their mind just go crazy because they could
Hmm.
be like, hold on, he's a snake. No, he's not a snake. That's never, that, you got to understand what that means because I mean, it's people out here that like if you talk to people that ain't really from because I've talked to people that's not in our culture and I've said stuff and they're like, what? You know what I mean? I have to explain what I'm saying to them because we talking a lot of black people we don't understand that we talking metaphor, we talking in mythology, we talking symbolism, we do a lot of we call each other dogs, snakes, we you know what I'm saying, we
Like I am Yasin said, is a snitch, is a rat.
yeah,
Snitch rat.
rat. You see what I'm saying? We call it a rat.
Low
We call
down,
girls the
dirty.
B. We call girls the B word, which is a female
Hmm.
dog. You see what I'm saying? But like
Hmm.
we say a lot of these metaphors. All
Hmm.
right, and then we go to allegory. Allegory, a story poem or a picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or particular one. And just a bigger one. Let me see. I hope it ain't too big.
It's all good.
All
It's all
right,
good. But
biblical allegory is a method of interpreting words with both a literal and hidden meaning. and that assumes the Bible has multiple levels of meaning. Allegories are stories which characters and events represent other ideas, people, or events. They can be used to express abstract ideas or spiritual truths, and critics. Oh, and critics. Politics. I can't see what the end of the bottom of that it's too big, but um, hold on,
Brother McCall, I'm gonna save that part what you just said with the chickens. I want you to give us a little definition of that because I never understand why do people say that it's a chick. You know, go to the night, go see these chicks.
yeah. Hold on, let me
What
say
is
the
the
last because
connection?
I got the hold on. Hold on. I got the last part. All right, it says spiritual
All right,
truths, critical politics, or foreshadowed later events. Okay, that's what that says. And that's it on that part.
all right. Yeah, brother McCall. You know, I used to hear that all the time. You know, dudes say, "Oh man, I got a date today, chick." You know, what I mean, what is the meaning of that?
To be honest, honestly, I don't know. It's just something that the old people used to say.
I
Yeah.
guess because they be clucking. You know what I mean? I guess they be.
Oh man, somebody gonna be mad at you for that. I ain't say that.
Oh,
That's
good.
how the old heads said they be sound like a clucking chickens.
Oh yeah, like I am Johnson says, a chicken's a babe.
Man,
A chicken's a babe. That's just even worse. A babe, sweetheart, chewy pie.
Yeah. Malcolm said one of the greatest metaphors, the roosters had come home. What did he say? The roosters had come on to lay their egg. Well, I forgot what he said when the
Oh,
JFK thing happened.
come on to roost.
back,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
right.
roosters had come
Back said
home to
about
roost.
JFK. Yeah, yeah, basically, basically.
Yeah. So allegory is made is it has different layers. And that's why I tell people too. The Bible has different layers. Like when you look at this one story, it's not just one thing. It's not just. That's why when you go, you can go into it and you can say this part right here is allegory. This part right here is a parable. This part right here has
Mm-hmm.
more of the story. Man, this part right here is symbolism. This part right here, you know what I'm saying, is mythology. Well, all of it is based off. All of that is based off of mythology. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And that's what people not understanding. We're not telling you, we're telling you, look, we don't believe in the Bible. We research and study the Bible like we're supposed to because we believe in the
Mm-hmm.
most high and it gets us closer to it and it gets more of a it gives us a better understanding. We understand this Bible. If you can't understand it in that way, how can you teach it? How are you teaching something off of something you don't really understand? And that's why I
Mm-hmm.
said a lot of people try to be teachers when they should be students first, where they should sit back and be a student. And that's what I did my whole life. I was a student first. Then I started teaching, but I'm always a student because I'm always learning. I'm always researching. I didn't believe this. I've been, I mean, let me say, I didn't think this way my whole life. I got to this point because I kept researching. I kept reading. I kept trying to understand because when I tried to read this stuff, when you're young and you in the streets or you like this new generation they growing up this new generation is going to school they studying science they studying
Mm-hmm.
history so when you come and tell these people and I used to tell JJ and them that, I said look if y'all keep telling these youth that these donkeys are talking and these dragons are real and this snake is talking I said you're gonna lose people
Mm-hmm.
because
Right.
people are becoming more smarter when it comes to science and history, and we have to catch up with this. So we
Mhm.
now, when I teach people, I got the young guys listening to me because I know how to teach them in this generation to get them to understand. Yeah, that snake don't talk, but that story is about this. Yeah, that donkey don't talk, but it's about this. Yeah, that
I agree.
when you read about Satan, understand that Satan means adversary is a person, place, or a national or a person of power that's against the Most High. It ain't no being that's making you do evil. You're doing the evil. Okay, ain't nobody making you do nothing. You're doing it. So stop.
Never made me do
Stop.
it.
You know what I'm saying? When I tell them about heaven, because I mean this is the questions they have. You know, I let them know
Mm-hmm.
about heaven. Heaven means sky. Heaven is the sky. Heaven is
Mm-hmm.
above. Hell is a place that was created from Johanna. I mean, these things was it's not trying to
Grave.
destroy the Bible. It's
Mm-hmm.
getting a better understanding so you can teach it better to the new generations that's coming up. Because these are the questions I had. I used to go to the pastor and be like, "Why this? Why this? And why that?" He'd be like, "Only God knows."
So
Man, you can't tell nobody that.
that would have been like I said, it was like the night before. Wait, like I said, JJ wanted me to do an interview with one of those comedic guys. Obviously,
Yeah,
I would have went, like I said, DOA style. I would have did the opposite of how he would assume that would happen on the sanitizer show. Because when the sanitizer does it to like most of our Torah centered, they don't have no way to defend themselves. He throw that out. Like, so what you mean? Donkeys talk in your book? And you believe it? You know what I'm saying? They don't have no way to defend themselves against certain things. But like the stuff that we're talking tonight is something that you're giving an answer back, so that when they go on like a sanitizer or an atheist situation where they can like put them in a knot, right? And hit them back with that, because we are dealing with allegories, we are dealing with parables, we're dealing with metaphors every day. So why, when we're reading the manuscript that's supposed to be our history book, right? There's not supposed to be none of those things in there. They don't get it. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You said, I mean, just listen to how you sound. Like, just think about it. You talking to somebody and you arguing, but and trying to convince them, yes, this donkey really talk. I mean, just think about the mental health these people think you have when you say that. I mean, I'm just being real, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I'm just saying, like, looking like, what, this man believe this donkey talk? You know, I mean, it just and I, like I said, I'm not dissing nobody that believe it.
No,
It's
that's
just
not.
that we have to really,
It's funny though. It's just funny.
yeah, we have to like sit in front of a therapist and tell them that you believe the donkey talk to you. I'm just saying, just do it.
And
Just
try
I
to get a
challenge anybody to do it. Take a camera and do it, and sit in front of your therapist and say, yeah, this donkey talked to me yesterday, and see how they
try to
gonna
get
look
a
at it.
job and tell them that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They gonna give you some medicine. They gonna start, sure, this medicine right here might help you. You see what I'm saying? Like, they not you, like, is we have to understand, stay in touch with reality. That's why I study science. That's why I study history, because it keeps me in touch with reality. Science is not created to destroy God. Science is actually to explain how God's work. That's why when I talk to guys and they try to go to the science stuff, half of them don't know science. They just trying to use a little bit of science. But when you know science and you know history, you know the biblical, and you can mix all this stuff together, they get scared because they're not used to that type of biblical people. They're used to a biblical people
Right.
that believes everything, that can't explain nothing. Like when
Mm-hmm.
I remember they was asking Tazariak and them on Sinetta, they asked him about the Isaiah story, right? I mean, about the Lucifer, and he talk about it's a demon, and when there's a demon or something that try to take over heaven. Listen to me, Isaiah 14 and
I
16.
remember
Listen,
that.
Isaiah 14 and 16, and I told us I've typed it in the comments. I said read 16 because some reason people stop at 15. I said read 16. It clearly tells you it's a man that fell from power, and when everybody seen him, they said, "Damn, this the man that did all this stuff." It tells you that it's a man. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that whole misinterpretation of that story led to a whole story of a demon being in heaven and failed because he got to fight with Michael, because they, like I tell people, they mixing that stuff up with Revelation, with
Right.
Enoch, with Adam and Eve story. They
You
mixing
got
all that
all
up.
the Jewish fables, boy, and mix it with all
Yeah, they
this
mixing
shit.
all that stuff up.
But that's the problem. That's the problem why a lot of people don't understand the book of Daniel. That's why these people don't understand the significance of the book of Ezekiel. They don't understand these things because they don't first understand the story that Isaiah was talking about a man falling from his power, which we all know who that man was. You know what I'm saying? And you get more of that
Yeah.
detail in the story later on. But that
Yeah,
understand.
I got a whole presentation on Isaiah the Lucifer, who, because because I was just playing around with it. I had it on Nimrod versus Nebuchadnezzar, and I was taking the scriptures and putting it to their life and seeing which one fit and all that. You know what I'm saying? So I do stuff like that because when I hear
Mm-hmm.
people say something, it gives me more of a research. Like, it's people out here that say Eitan Ra was Moses. So I got a whole
Mm-hmm.
presentation on comparing them both together. And
Mm-hmm.
at my conclusion is no, they're not the same. You see what I'm saying? So it's like when people say something, I go research it, I go study it, I go
Allegory
look it
soup.
up.
I like
Yeah,
that.
like,
Allegory soup.
I'm just not gonna let you say nothing to me because a lot of these people just say stuff, man. They don't research, they don't study nothing. And then why you even listen to an atheist? Why you even listen to somebody? And he all did the main thing they always say. I read the whole Bible. Man, you ain't reading the whole Bible. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we can keep. You know how much time that we don't read the Bible and been in the Bible. It's some people on this panel that have been in the Bible for 40 years and they still learning stuff from the Bible. So if
Absolutely.
you think you can sit there and read the
Right.
Bible a whole by yourself at one time and you think you know everything in the Bible, you don't. You're foolish
Mm-hmm.
to think that. And that's any book. I don't watch. You watch a
Mm-hmm.
movie 3 times, you go see something you ain't seen the last 2 times you watched the movie. You know what I'm
Same
saying?
thing
So
about
agree.
why people sit
Agree.
around and say, watch the movie again if it was a good movie. If it was good,
yeah,
so guess what? They were looking for the things that they didn't catch before. You
yeah.
know?
I don't watch the movie and be like, this one in the movie the last time I watched it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So all it takes you to turn your ass, go get something to drink, go use the bathroom, and you don't miss the whole 3, 4, 5 minutes of the movie. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like these people don't be. And like I said, when it's so crazy when you talk to them, right? Because when I talk to these people, they try to bash on the Bible, and I start coming. I'm like, this mythology. They try to bring up something. I say that's mythology. That's allegory. That's metaphor. You see what I'm saying? I come at them like that. They don't know what to do. They'll just be like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right, and they'll leave.
Keyword figurative.
Yeah,
Figurative. It's
yeah,
all the same. It's all the same thing in
yeah,
reality.
yeah.
It's all the same. I'm saying in reality, it's all the same thing, right? In reality,
Yeah.
it's all the same
Yeah, it
thing.
is because it all works together. It's all
Mm-hmm.
together. It's all together. It's all wrapped up in a wrap of mythology. It's all
Mm-hmm.
wrapped up. And like I said, that's why I keep saying mythology because I want people to understand it don't
No,
mean
no,
fake. Because
you have
mythology has been taught that it means fake. So if people get mad when you say mythology, now I'm trying to make mythology a good word. You see what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? It's a great word, and when you actually understand what it means, then you can read the Bible and you understand what these other stuff mean. The only thing word we ain't break down is parable. Let's look
Well,
that
guess
up.
what? Guess what? Hold on before you break down parable.
Okay.
Parable just happens to be the only actual thing that is literally written in the scriptures. Metaphor is not
Yeah.
written in the scriptures. Allegory is not written in the scriptures. None of those words you can find in the scriptures except for the word parable. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Well,
So,
allegory is, but allegory is in the New Testament. So I mean, I guess we
yeah,
can.
well,
Yeah.
I agree. But I'm just saying the
Yeah.
actual word itself is not written in the Hebrew scrolls. The only
Yeah.
one would be parable. But somebody would turn around and says, "Well, I know that there are some metaphors there," and someone would ask this question: "Okay, where is it written at?" They can't show it. Just like they can
Mhm.
ask you when you believe something is a metaphor and that they don't believe is a metaphor. You know what I'm saying? They use that same handicap and it works against them. That's why you don't really supposed to actually limit a person's belief towards yours. You get what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah. But
somebody
see,
told us, well,
the problem. The problem. I was gonna say the problem I have with that, right, is when a person says show me metaphor in the word, that to me you don't know what metaphor is. Because why do I
exactly.
if
Show
you
me in the
if
scriptures.
this just the same way Alan just pulled out and you and Alan was pulling out verses, we understood what metaphor was, we understood what the allegory is, we understand what the history is. We don't have to have something to tell us that's what it is. If you don't
Mhm.
understand these words and then you just because you see it in scripture, what does that supposed to mean? Because
Mhm.
if you see the word in scripture, what part of the because let's say Genesis, right? We talk about if say metaphor in Genesis. Now, if I
It
ask
is
you,
about
okay, what part of this
the
Genesis
beginning,
you
right? That
looking
was
for is
cheap.
metaphor? Yeah. So what part of Genesis is metaphors? If I still ask him that, can he be able to still tell me that? You see what I'm saying? So it's like because when you asked him what is a metaphor, he told you what a metaphor was in the Bible. He
Mhm.
told you that when I asked the dude, bro, and said, "What is a metaphor to you?" He told you exactly he thought a metaphor was in the Bible.
Mhm.
He told you
Mhm.
what he felt like a metaphor was, and when you reread the metaphor, he was wrong. That's not what a metaphor was. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm trying to say is because people using words they don't understand it. But you're gonna say it's not in the Bible, but then when somebody asks you what a metaphor is, you went straight into the Bible and show what a metaphor was.
Mhm.
You just ain't like what we said a metaphor was because you believe it. And that's when
Mhm.
it comes biasness. That's when stuff becomes biased because I don't believe it. So now it's not a metaphor. So and
Mhm.
because I believe it's real and I took a literal. So just because you said it's a metaphor, it's not a metaphor. But yeah, I believe this is a metaphor. You see what I'm saying? So it just, I mean, that's why I like breaking down words because once I say the definition, it ain't no more playing games. It's no more
Mhm.
playing games. You
That's
know what a
why.
metaphor is now. So when you read something, you should know what a metaphor means, and you should know what a metaphor is when you read it. And
Well,
shouldn't you shouldn't have to see word metaphor in
it's gonna get
there.
deeper
Yeah.
as we go along because we're gonna start dealing with definite and indefinite timeline. That's where it's gonna be some arguments.
Woo.
Oh man, when we
Oh,
start
that's
showing something that's pertaining to a specific timeline and why it's pertaining to the specific timeline, and that it doesn't go outside of that specific timeline, it's gonna be some fights. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah.
fights because guess what?
Oh wait till you pull out that Dead Sea Scroll. You pull that wait till you
Oh
pull that out.
man.
You gonna have to be mad.
Well, I
You
already
gonna
see
have
a
to be
lot of
mad
people
about
have
that.
come up with the most, what we call it, feeble ass excuses why such and such in the Dead Sea Scrolls shouldn't be taken serious, or such and such should be taken serious. Well, like our brother Daniel was saying that stupid statement about the Septuagint is tampered. Dude, I understand you don't understand something, but you put a defense on something because you don't understand it. That's going to be your loss.
Exactly.
That's not going to be the
That's what
majority.
I
It's going to be your
mean.
loss.
That's what I mean when I say when people don't agree to something, the first thing they try to say is fake, is not real, this and this
Mhm.
and that. I don't see it in there. That's what that's a defensive mechanism.
Can I drop one
That's a
bomb? Can I
defensive.
drop one bomb? Can I drop one bomb? Then I'm going to give it back to you. I said a few things last week. I slipped it in there on purpose. Like I said, Joshua the son of Nun was the priest. And I thought somebody would catch on that Joshua the son of Nun wasn't from the tribe of Levi, which he's not. He's from Ephraim.
Yeah, right? I caught that.
but he's a priest. He was the priest. It was a minister. It's the priest, minister. Now the same thing like Jethro, right? Moses' stepfather, whatever you want to call it, father-in-law, not stepfather, father-in-law was a priest, right?
Yeah.
A priest. He was a priest, literally, for the Most High, if you think about it. But just because he was a priest in Midian does not mean that he's a Midianite priest. It just means that he's happened to be a priest specifically to the Midian people. Because think about it. Abraham had seed. Midian is one of his sons. You get what I'm saying? So think about it. When you read like Melchizedek, obviously I said it to be funny, and I was actually being truthful. Shem, okay? These are all situations that come up. Not everything's going to be a priesthood of the Levite priesthood, okay? Now, yes, there is Egyptian priests. Yes, they have probably other nation priests, but I'm not talking about those other nations priests that are talking about their gods. I'm talking about the gods I'm talking about the God that we go by. We can have a priest. Doesn't have to necessarily be Levi.
But see the way the English word works, right? And I'm not a linguistic, but I understand the way when they translated these words, they made it priest. We understand Egyptian didn't call their people priests. We understand Hebrews didn't call themselves priests. But when they use the word priest, they put that word in a box. So now when these people was a religious leader of a temple, now all of a sudden you call them a priest, and then now you're trying to say, okay, they was a priest, but their nation is older than yours, so you stole it from them and call yourself priest. None of them call themselves priests. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem people have.
Religious leader is already putting yourself in a deficit because, truthfully, in our Hebrew heritage, we don't have religion. We don't deal with religion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But obviously, because of the misuse and abuse of that word religion, right? And the way religion teaches things, the way religious goes with their philosophies, we think that a priest is supposed to be a religious leader when he is actually not. He's a minister of the word of the Most High. He's the servant to bring you as a servant to the Most High. That's what it is. That's what a priest is. Most priests do things like guard the temples and guard. Those are jobs, duties of certain priests. But at the bottom line of it, a priest is a person that makes exaltation to our God. Microphone is busted. I've dropped it so many times.
Yeah, because we take a lot of these different languages. We know Egyptian had a different language. We know Hebrew had, but we take this one English word and we try to put it on all these different nations, knowing that they didn't have the same words, knowing that they did not run it the same way. Because Egypt had different temples. Egypt had temples for Isis and temples for this god and temples for this god. You see what I'm saying? So it was not. It's just a word that they use, and then they start putting it around everybody, and they try to make it seem like, oh, see, they had priests. They not show me priests in Egypt. They was not called priests. That's not that was they. They wasn't called. They wasn't called. I don't even think they was called pharaohs. I forgot what they was called in the Egypt language. A lot of these words are Greek words. When they say Kemet, Kemet is a Greek word. Egypt is a Greek word. Isis is a Greek word. Horus is a Greek word. That's not Egyptian language. You see what I'm saying? And that's and I used to be an
I
Egyptian
want some
back
of
in
these
the day, so
comedics
I
to
know.
come on here, please. Don't go too sharp. Don't scare them.
Oh yeah, you're right. I ain't
I'm
gonna, I ain't
scared of
gonna.
my wife.
But
They love to go attack everybody else, but they ain't gonna come to a DOA platform with that bullshit.
yeah,
They'll say, "Well, we got away with words, man. No, man, I ain't messing with them dudes."
yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe the
Yeah,
donkey was
I mean, we
talking
try.
either. So I agree.
Mhm.
I agree
Yeah.
fully.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I would personally be
I've
scared.
actually got a question. I've actually got a question. Actually, do
Yeah.
you notice how these Western nations they're literally worshiping like Egyptology or Egypt or symbols or blisks or like pyramids or you understand what I mean? Like there's a big thing, but
Yeah,
basically they have no real culture.
they what you call and they like their mind just stuck on them. It's like
Yeah.
it influences them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh,
Yep.
what's the
Yeah.
attraction that you get? Okay, think about
Yep.
it. Think about it. I used to tell one of those. I call him a Chris Harris / Tariq Morris guy. Why are you so stuck on digging up dead people
Yep.
bodies? What do you get out of that? What's your feedage for that? You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
Yeah.
these
And
people
then
are
the
into that.
depictions. Like the depictions, like especially like in the last say 40, 50 years, where
Mhm,
they put like like white Egyptians, like big,
mhm.
which is laughable. Moses, like Charlton Heston Moses, you mean like a white man? You mean like it's just
I
like
don't get it wrong.
Well,
Don't
obsession,
get it
well,
wrong. Don't get it.
well,
Don't
well,
get it wrong. That was a good movie, though. That was a good movie. If you
well,
watch
well,
that,
well,
it
what's
was
going on?
good, but the depiction's
Greatest
wrong.
movie of all time.
Let's see what's going on with that, right? Is and this is what I try to tell you. We have to understand. I ain't go too deep, but we have to understand is we have the old kingdom, we had the middle kingdom, we had the new kingdom. Where they had the middle. Let me say me, we, because like I'm not, we not them, but they had the middle, the old, middle, and new. Then some of their dynasties was took over by the Hyksos. Some was took over by some part of their stuff was taken over by Canaanites. The Nubians took over part of their stuff. Different people came into Egypt, did different dynasties. But then when you went into the new dynasty is the Ptolemy dynasty, which is the Greek dynasty. Ptolemy is the general of Alexander the Great. So when they going into this DNA, they're not going all the way into the old kingdom. They're going into some of them, but they're going mostly into the Ptolemy dynasty, and that's where they're trying to get. They're trying to change the DNA genealogy and trying to say, see, these people came from this area because they're
Yeah.
really dealing with the Ptolemy DNA.
We gotta make
So
another
that's
show. Make another show come up. We're gonna talk about dynasties and empires. Dynasties and
oh yeah.
empires, and that can go all
And
the way up to
and can
2020.
we can we speak on the thing I think it was a smash idol was talking about earlier about the dream thing. Can
Oh
you
yeah,
ask
yeah,
that
yeah. I
question
would
again?
definitely want to talk on the night visions and day visions. From the ground
Yeah.
up, because a lot of
What
our
was it? What was your question? What was the question that you had about the dream thing again?
Oh, to my
Is it still
me,
on
it was
there?
basically that like you say, you'll go into it later, but it was basically about for us like how it correlates with mythology and reality and people dreams, because we got a lot of our brothers and sisters that actually have dreams and think they see visions. That's why I threw that in there.
hmm
So
hmm
Yeah. Okay.
hmm
Yeah. What you guys say about the DOA? Because I remember you was
No,
about to
no,
say because
no.
I
Like
want.
I said,
I heard.
like specifically like that, we're gonna go and like that part. I'm gonna go into that definitely in the details. We're dealing with like say like different nations how they perceive certain how we call an angel, or they call
Yeah,
their beings, whatever. Like say Ahura Mazda on the Persian side of things, or Michael the Archangel in the book
yeah,
of Daniel. But all of those things came via vision, via a vision.
yeah,
Like we can envision certain things too. That's the third vision. How we envision certain things, how our mind puts forth certain things towards reality is a vision. You know what I mean?
yeah,
What is the Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision was? You know what I mean? He saw certain things. You know what I mean? Was it something that's going to be a reality in modern times? No, because it didn't really come to be. But is the vision shut? Is the vision gone? Not really. It's just been
yeah. Now
diluted.
I don't know if you call these. I don't know if you call these visions or nothing, right? But I mean, I believe in the stuff like as far as the Most High giving you warnings on things. Like, it been time to where like one day I was going to sleep and my head says this person was going to die, right? And
Deja
the next morning he
vu.
died.
Deja
Yeah, the next morning
vu. I love it. I
next
love
morning
it.
this person, yeah, this next
Hmm.
person is wanted. The next person, the next morning this person died. I don't been in
Hmm.
situations to where I knew something was going to happen. I knew we was about to get shot one day. Like we was walking from the store and this car pulled up, and I swear to you not, the people ain't even get out of the car yet. And I was telling my brother and them, these dudes got guns. And I'm saying, and
They're
they looking at me
oracles.
crazy because they looking like, what are you talking about? So the
Hmm.
dudes finally get out the car with these big guns. And my
Hmm.
brother and them laughing, so they like, "What y'all laughing at?" They pull the guns out on us, you know what I'm saying? So my brother
Hmm.
and them, everybody started running, but I felt them before they even got out the car. So yes, I believe in such a situation like that. Now when we come to dreams and stuff, that's why like I was telling about the mythology as far as how sleep and death in the Greek mythology is actually brothers because they
Hmm.
coincide with each other because you can actually go to sleep and
Right.
sleep into death, right?
Hmm.
So, but I believe in
Right.
the conscious subconsciousness, and a lot of people don't speak on that. And we were talking to an atheist one day on Lions Den, and he was trying to say prove that God exists, and I said the subconscious. I said because when they make AIs, they cannot create the subconscious. Because I believe that's where the soul is at,
Exactly.
which people call the soul is there. So I believe when you leave here and when you go to near-death experiences, they tell you that they'll feel like they are their subconscious when they leave their body. So the subconscious is outside of the mind. The subconscious is what controls the conscious, which controls your mind, which controls your brain, and your brain controls your body. So when you moving your fingers and you're talking, they call it subconsciously doing it because you really don't have to think about it. But in real life, your brain is sending a message down into your nervous system, into your finger, telling your finger to move within seconds. So, but your subconscious controls all that. So, yes, I have a presentation said the subconscious is where you meet God at. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe that's where your soul is at. I think when you leave here from my studies, that you are your subconscious. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to explain, but you are your subconscious. That's why when you leave your body, you can still see because the subconscious works through all of this. Subconscious what empowers this stuff. And when you leave here, the reason I don't do ghosts, like when people try to say ghosts, is like when you got to realize the way you look right now is genetics. You look like
Hmm.
this because of your bloodline from your father, your mother. When you leave this body, you're not going to look like yourself. And I'm just telling people that because you don't because you look it comes from features of all the genetics of all the people that have something in you. So
Almost
it's
like
just
energy,
it's
where
not biblical.
reality
It's not biblical.
where
Yeah,
reality meets
yeah.
the fourth dimension. Where reality
Yeah,
meets
see,
the
it's
fourth
not
dimension.
biblically, and that's why it's hard to talk to our brothers about it because it's like I believe this. The Bible explains a lot of stuff. It has a lot of messages, but does it explain everything? No, it doesn't explain how death really works. It doesn't explain after death. I believe that the Most High gave you enough power and and a mindset that you can go out and research it yourself. Everything is
Mhm.
not in the Bible because the Biblical is at a certain period of time where people had a belief in something. You know what I'm saying? So when people talk
We
about
only have about 4 or 5 different actual what you call passages, and I'm not going to say scriptures because most of them are all passages anyway that deal with
yeah,
death and what happens after. Obviously, we face some of that with Job, we face some of that with Solomon, we face some of that with Ezekiel, we face some of that with Daniel, we face some of that. I don't even count none in the New Testament, but I'm just saying we face some of that when you start thinking about it, because they get to the point where how can the living tell a tale about the dead when he hasn't been there
Yeah,
yet? You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah,
a lot of that is like deeply involved in imagination and imaginative thinking.
Right. I believe
yeah,
it's. I feel like it is imagination, and I can remember since I was maybe like I would say
You got to
five or
be
six
careful. You
years
got to be
old.
careful, though. You got to be careful because you said that your voice was
Uh
there
huh.
in imagination. Somebody has stopped that point. Well, he said that this is a
Right. Right.
no
Yeah, you're exactly
imaginative
right. But
thinking.
let me rephrase that. Since I was five, that's why I put 5 years old. Oh, I said 5 years old. Since when I was 5 years old, I could see certain things or whatever, whatnot. But as I am now, it took me maybe 30 years to realize, like, hey, this stuff is really rooted in the imagination and the mythological side of what's really reality. So it's real. It's like what I
yeah,
thought I seen as I was when I was 5 years old. It was like an illusion, like you put it. But it
Hmm.
was through my own
yeah,
imagination.
Well, then let's see now how
yeah,
we can do this, and we can go back. We can hone back in on the numbers whole donkey thing now, and really hit that and attack that with some sharpness. Where in the hell is the imaginary character talking comes from? Where is the actual oracle of the story comes from? Why this is not actually reality because it's told from a specific point where it's an oracle being told to
Right.
Israel. Okay, and wait a minute. When we read that, we're reading that in the book of Numbers, right? We're reading that from Moses' writings, correct? Man, they put a lot of damn emphasis on everything. Moses. You think Moses was around when all of this stuff took place? No, he was not. But he
yeah,
was the one to put it all in illustration in the book. Now, wait a minute. Somebody say, "There's no little pictures in the book." No, the pictures is in your mind. Damn, I gotta
Because
throw
it,
that
it
mic
said
again, huh?
right, because it said biblically that God will get them over to imaginations of their own heart. So it's like
Mm-hmm. You
it's
think turn them over to
it,
delusions,
it's
right?
illusions.
Well, it's the same thing. It's no different. No difference. But Alan, I know you're here, brother. Come on now. Come on now. This is your territory too. Come on.
I was sitting back listening,
Have some
laughing.
fun with this.
Right. I normally, when it comes to giving feedback, I usually voice my statements, but we have Eric and other participants, so I'm just sitting back listening.
No, I'll just mess with you. That's just
Yeah.
like
yeah,
that's just
yeah.
like
My, Alice sparked this whole thing up when he once he said that word metaphor. That was it. That was,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah, man.
somebody gotta
yeah,
say,
I'm glad you did it, though.
God,
Yeah, I'm glad you did it because we got two.
God,
Yeah, it need to be
No,
talked
I've got a
about.
comment actually. I've got a
Mhm.
comment, brothers.
Yeah.
Right? There's a
Okay.
couple of things which like food for thought. Like when we've
No,
talked about the
food for thought,
Bible.
food for thought, food for thought. That's a metaphor. Food for thought.
Yeah.
Your mind can't eat. Your mind can't eat.
Yeah.
uh, right? Well, when we talk about like when you look at the people who actually authorized, right, the Christian Holy Bible, authorized. Do they even look at who authorized the Holy Bible? And it's like information is power. We know information is power, right? Like there's the old analogy. If you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
and the thing is that there is a belief that the Vatican, right, holds a number of books which are actually like accurate, truthful books, which they haven't authorized, and we're only getting a fragment of what is actually there. Well, what's everyone's feelings on that?
My feelings on that is I would have to say that is all possible truth that they are holding back some of our information. Yes, indeed. But because we can't exactly go into the Vatican library and say, "Give me this book, give me that book. This is my book. This is my." We have to just go with that as just a phrase. It's food for thought. That's all it is. Food for thought.
I mean, I think they need to read some of them books because what they be teaching is craziness. So I mean, I think they need to go there and bring some books out and start reading them.
Let's don't pick on the Vatican.
They don't understand them.
Let's don't pick on the Vatican. Let's don't picture the fish hats. Let's leave them alone.
They say the Mormon also have some scriptures too that's missing. That's what I heard now, but I don't know how true that is.
I never really ran into a Mormon though.
Not the same
really ran into one of them.
Books.
Last year before last, there was a lot of them spreading around amongst us. A whole bunch of Mormons. I think most of that group has died. That was part of a Hard Job's first original group.
I remember that.
I mean, I think the Vatican. I think the Vatican has a lot of. I think the Vatican has. I don't think they just have. A bunch of our books and stuff like that. I think they have a bunch of all the books that they conquered. Because we talking about Rome, so
right.
I think they have I think they have a lot of literature from Egypt and that people haven't seen, and all these other places that they took over. And I mean, it's just like British. When the British took over a lot of stuff, now they giving back the gold that they took from all these nations. So I think that they have a lot of books of everybody's stuff and just sitting, but they still need to read it because I mean I'm just saying the Pope be saying some crazy stuff, man. Y'all don't hear what the Pope be saying?
You got all the books here, so you need to read some of them books, my man.
Yeah, the Pope be saying some crazy stuff. I be hearing, I be like, man, and I know the Pope ain't say this.
I just call it just like a lot of Jewish fables and
right. I also know that in the book of Genesis, I don't know if anybody's heard about this, but I read about it and it's mentioned. There was talk of a woman who was before Eve, and her name was Lilith.
Oh, it's Lilith.
Yeah. Oh, now that's Jewish folklore.
Jewish folklore, right?
And what
and
happened?
The other civilization before.
Right. What happened is her and Adam fought because she was independent, and she was also. Her story was she was also made from the ground. She didn't come from Adam. And then what wound up happening is she left Adam, and the Creator sent a messenger to go after her, and she never came back. And so now that's what they're saying, that the story with Eve is a second creation story. It's not the original story. So,
but that's if you go to that's why a lot of some camps are teaching. If you see hear what they're saying, they'll try to say that Genesis actually has two separate stories. That's what they see. What I'm saying is they be trying to sneakily say stuff and act like they ain't getting it from other places. But when they try to say the Genesis talk on, because they'll try to say, oh, when God said He made man in the image, He's talking about another people. Then when He said God made Eve from His body, that's another creation. So they actually be trying to put that in Genesis and try to say Genesis has actually have two creation human stories. So that's where they'll take them type of books and try to sneak it in and act like they ain't reading them. And that's why that's why I tell people I read these books, because when I hear you say it, I'm gonna tell you, no, man, you got that from Adam and Eve, you got that from the Enoch book. Don't act like you that I don't know you, because I got all the books. I got a whole book called The Other Bible, where it's nothing but Kabbalah, the Gnostics, Dead Sea Scrolls, there's everything in it. You know what I mean? Apocrypha, it got all that stuff. So when I hear people saying this stuff, I be like, no, you are secretly getting it from this, and then you trying to sneak it over here and try to say, oh, see, because it say this. They ain't no, so they when you hear them people saying there's two different stories in Genesis, that's where they getting it from. They getting it from what Alan's talking about.
Well, you gotta remember. That's why I said, like, on our debate platform, it's a little bit different, a little bit tricky for them to get over on certain shit, because we want to see some books of where they get their sources from, citations, etc., example, exactly. Like, especially Second Enoch, like those books, like we all have been subjected to hearing a lot of the shit that comes out of it. But these guys won't put out the reality that they've been using those books. Like you said, they think they slick. You're not going to be out slicking us because we have all of. I got all those books in my library. I got the Chaldean version
Oh
of
yeah.
Genesis. I
Let
have
me ask you something.
all the different persuasions of the books that we have possibly to read. So then they're going to slick talk me with that. But I see what you're saying. They sneaking
I got a
it
question for DOA and Alan too, because I know y'all have all them different books that as far as literature. Okay. Ethiopians say right they have the oldest Bible, and it's never they'll never. Hold on, I know,
Did he
and they
flush the
said they
toilet?
never been and they never been they say they never been colonized, right? But when I went and researched and told them, it still says that the geese that they talk, or geese, whatever the language is that they talk,
Mhm.
and they read it in, they actually is still a translation from the Greek language. So a person
Mhm.
from Greece or Rome actually did come over there, and they just translated it into the Ethiopian book. So I just
Yep.
want to hear what y'all had to say about that.
Okay.
Personally, before you say something about it, personally, I'm going to say this. That is probably the most what you call compromised heathen New Testament add on with some of the pseudegrapher shit book that you can get. That Ethiopian
Mm,
Bible. It's all Christian. All Christian. It's that
Yes, sir. I agree.
they make it appear as if it's so ancient, which it is. Because remember, I said Christology, not Christianity, but Christology has a lot of contaminated materials from other nations and mixed them all together in one bowl. you
yeah, I agree.
know, but the Ethiopian Bible is one of them. That's why I was like snickering and laughing at you. Flush that book down the toilet. It really has no bearing to nothing. Somebody says, "How?" Oh, my brother Warren. I ain't seen him in a while. He says, "What about the Sumerian tablets?" Well, the thing about the Sumerian tablets is just that it should be called the Sumerian tablets, but a lot of these ignominious ignorants don't know that the Sumerian tablets is a modified version of that. You know, that little small little micro size little bit of information that they have. They modified that
Yeah,
shit,
I mean,
added
and
to it,
we
written
and
to
see,
it, gave you different versions of it. Billy Carson pushing that hard,
yeah,
of
yeah,
course. Billy Carson is pushing a
yeah,
whole lot
yeah,
of the Emerald tablets. Oh
yeah.
man.
I listened to a little bit Billy Carter, but he be saying a lot of crazy stuff too. I ain't gonna lie.
Books
Like
you
he said,
should
we
books
come
you
from
should
Mars.
The
books you
aliens,
should
the
carry with
aliens
you when you
attacked
go
me
to
in
the
my
bathroom.
room.
Those what you should take those books in the
Yeah,
bathroom with you
but
for extra toilet paper.
any ancient text that tablets or anything like that, and this is the same thing I was saying about Egypt. All of that stuff is translated. None of these people can go into them tablets and read that stuff right off the tablet. So all of
Nope.
them are coming off translations. And what happens when you translate stuff? What happens? You start getting different versions because you have different people trying to translate it. So now this person don't
You
say,
gotta
no,
ask
this
this
what this
question:
mean, no,
who
this what this
translated
mean.
them? Like, who translated them? Well, you gotta be funny guy. So who translated these books? Because a lot of the translations that came from modern day people translating them that don't have no
Yeah,
idea, no idea
exactly,
what it's saying to
exactly,
begin with. So obviously, when you translate
exactly.
something, you
Or
open it up.
they ain't even and they not even part of their culture. So again, they don't even like if you're not a part of the culture, it's hard for you to decipher because we it ain't really because really you have to decipher it first, then you translating it. So and then we talk about translating different languages because it ain't just translated from Sumerian to English. It had to go to Latin and Greek and all this stuff, and then went to English. So we'll talk about multiple different translations and versions of these books, and then they're trying to fit it in and try to take biblical stuff and try to mix it in with it and say a lot of the biblical stuff is that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah,
Transliteration,
yeah. So
transcribe,
so
repair edition.
just like the people be trying to say, yeah, just like people be trying to say that y'all is the moon god in fucking Egypt, and I be like, dog, how, well, my bad because like, how's the moon god? How is y'all the moon god in Egypt when the moon god in Egypt name is Khonsu? That doesn't even make sense. You just took a word and try to put it in, try to fit it in Egypt when there's no, it don't even fit over there. You know what I'm saying? Because
You got to
I'll
remember,
show him. I'll be like, yeah,
you saying like that, you got is modern people have tapped into what you call last year's work that was implanted inside of the damn Google.
yeah,
When you look up in Google, so what you're doing is you see that those things are starting to now come out. You know what I'm saying? But it's actually just something that somebody else inputted in there that finally coming to the top of the list of junk. That's all that really is. To be honest with you.
well, DOA said we're gonna talk about carbon dating another day. So if somebody said he said something about carbon dating, I know you want to talk
Oh
about that
yeah,
on
yeah.
another
Well, I was referring to talking about dates and timelines and stuff like. But carbon
yeah,
dating is a little bit different. That's more on the science side of thing or archaeological thing. But you got to have something concrete to start from.
yeah,
Let's address that. And if we don't have that particular thing to start from, to backdate it, we're just gonna just going in a circle of assumption. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
mean,
Cause see,
not saying there's something wrong with carbon dating. It's not saying that it's not accurate. It's just that
it's just not a fact. It's not
it's
100%
yeah,
correct. Yeah.
it's not 100% correct.
Because I tell people we got to realize who calendar y'all going off of. Because we, you know what I mean. It's like you going off of the calendar we going off of is only 2,000 years old when we know it was older than that. So it's like when you dating it, what are you dating it off of? You're not dating it off of
Hmm.
ancient times. You're not, you know what I'm saying. So the time dates is gonna be all off. Now, what
Hmm.
he said about Billy Costa, because I listen to a lot of Billy Costa, so I know what he teaches, and he said he teaches that Inky created people today, and the spaceships. Now, what Billy Carson is doing, he's doing what people do in the Bible. He's taking stuff literal. So what he's doing is
Hmm.
he's making Inky a real being instead of understanding instead of understanding what deities are. You see what I'm
But
saying? And that's the
but
difference with people that understand it. They created their own creation story and they had deities, but he's trying to say that they are aliens because the so he's trying to say that he's trying to mix the science into it because he's trying to say when Inky came, he genetically engineered monkeys and humans together, or what you call Homo or sapiens, and try
Right.
to mix them all
Trying to
together
push his
and
own little
splice
I
them.
theory.
And
mean, in
yeah,
college
he's pushing.
they would call that studying of the linear B tablets. All right,
Yeah,
linear B tablets, which that's the way it all comes from when it comes to all of that stuff with the Sumerian Tabrets.
yeah.
I
uh,
say it like that.
I call it
That
sound.
these
I call
guys
it sound.
put
I
their
call it
hands and
sound good
go
doctrine. That's what it's
I'm gonna tell
sugar
you
in the
sound good
water.
doctrine.
the Billy Carson belief. Do you know where he got that from? That we're aliens. He got that from
Oh, it's
Dr.
called
Malik.
what's that dude name?
That Malachi York,
He
exactly.
got that from
No,
Dr.
no, no.
Yep.
It's
Malachi
a
York.
Yes, he did.
it's a guy dude. It's a guy dude. What's his name, man? Because I did the presentation on some. It's a guy
It's a white guy
that
at
him
that
and
too that he got
Doctor.
the shit
Yeah,
from.
it's a guy that him and Doctor Yo got it from. I can't remember.
Hmm.
Um, I think his name was Called. Dang, I can't remember the name.
Now,
No, no,
now,
I
But
know
it's a
exactly
guy
what you're
that
That's
talking about.
that
Mhm.
but
imagination running wild again.
but remember now, Dr. Malachi York has been out since the 70s,
Mhm.
and he has had multiple identities. He
Mhm.
started
yeah,
Oh
out
yeah.
as he started out as a Hebrew. Then
Mhm.
he went from a
Hmm.
Hebrew, and then because he used to call himself the Ansars,
Oh
and the
yeah,
word
yeah,
Ansar,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
word Ansar means helpers. He started
Mhm.
off as an Ansar. Then from there, he became some type of Indian. He was teaching some type of Indian lessons. Then from there, he started out with Egyptian theology because they had some type
yeah,
of big pyramid, I think somewhere in Atlanta. Then from there,
yeah,
what happened is he wind up getting arrested because they said he was molesting people in his sect.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's basically, like I said, when it comes to that belief of us being extraterrestrial, which only means alien or foreigner, he he's I believe he is the originator of that doctrine. because, like I said, he
Oh
has
yeah,
been
well,
around for
yeah,
many
he's
years.
he's the originator of the doctrine, but I mean, yeah, because what he was actually doing, he was actually pushing masonry, and because
Yes,
masonry has different levels of classes, so what he was doing
yes,
was trying to bring them. Because the last class he was teaching was masonry, you know what I'm saying?
right,
So, but
right.
what I'm saying is I wish I could find a dude's name, but it's a dude who actually was a scholar that actually
Mm-hmm.
went into the Sumerians, and he pushed and he started teaching that these Inky and stuff was actually like, I ain't gonna say aliens, but they was real beings, and that Inky created it created human beings, and then and Leo was trying to save the human beings and all this stuff. And Dr. Yochanan kind of took that and then created his own doctrine around it. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying is, when you understand these people were trying to take deities and trying to make them real, it's almost like taking a horse and make this horse a
Right,
real person. And when they can't
right,
do that because these people didn't write it like that, these people wrote in deity form, and that's the problem
right.
that's going on because now new eras people believe in the aliens, so they saying, oh no, well if this only way it can happen that these beings had to be aliens. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then they made a whole story talking about genetics you ain't gonna see no people talking about genetic engineering in no damn Sumerian tablets. You know what I'm saying? Like you try to tell me these
Right.
people genetic engineering was splicing DNA and all that in 5,000 BC. No, and that's the
No,
problem
it's
with
Mm-hmm.
wrong with
definitely not. Now you were saying something about the Ethiopian Bible. Um,
yeah.
the now base, the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest and most complete Bible. I think it has over 80 something books,
Hmm.
and it was written in Gez. That's an ancient Ethiopian language. But the problem is, like True said, it's a Christian Bible. It's the world's first illustrated Christian Bible, and
Mm-hmm.
you can look that up, anywhere. It's
And
a
I
Christian Bible, so it's
like the
no
way
good
that
to us.
a lot of our Hebrew denials of Christianity, that the Christians, they like to push that because
Right.
it's considered associated as a
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When I looked up,
melanated people's book.
And it was
yeah, but
used
what I'm
by
saying is
the
when I looked,
Ethiopian church, by the
Mm-hmm.
way, the Coptic
yeah,
Bible or the
but what
Ethiopian Bible.
But what I said when I went deep into the research of it, it actually they still said that this book was still translated from a Greek form. So it's like somebody that a Greek guy came over there and they translated it into the Geese. So
Yeah, I
that's what I'm
believe
saying.
that.
Some of the information.
Yeah, I believe that a lot of that stuff, like it has its born on date, and it's not actual proof for that, but its born on date is coming from, like I said, the Linear B tablets, which is basically a Mycenaean or ancient Greek uh, writing, I guess. Technically brought to life and spin-offs off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Um,
Gave life
Yeah.
to it.
I believe a lot of the books were written in the language which was most popular in the period it came out in. The New Testament came out at a time where in Rome they were speaking Greek, Latin. That's why you have the Vulgate, you have the Koine Greek, and these were the languages that they were using in Rome. So those books came out in the language they were speaking in the kingdom. A lot of the books
Right.
also, if you do like your research, a lot of Christians don't realize that they are using Catholic material. They
Hmm.
they will try to say they're not because the word Catholic means universal, but it is still a Catholic book. All the creeds, the Athanasian Creed, the Nicaea Creed, and the Apostles' Creed. These books, or I mean, these writings say in their mantra, "We believe in the Holy Catholic Church." Okay. So if you're saying you believe in the Holy Catholic Church, what would that mean? It means that you're Catholic. They don't try to say, "Oh no, it just means that we believe in a universal church," but you're still using the terminology of the word Catholic. The Christian lessons deal with the Virgin Mary, or Mary's the mother of God, or the Trinity. This all comes from Catholic teachings. This is what taints Christianity. And the original Christianity with the Ebionites and the Nazarenes, they did not believe that Yeshua, I hate to bring him up, but he's in it, that he was a deity. They believed he was a regular man and that he was like somewhat like just a prophet, and that's it. And this is what the Muslims believe also. They look at him, well, they call him in the Muslim belief Isa. That's the Arabic term. So there, if you look at the original Christianity versus the Christianity today, the Christianity today that's being practiced is Pauline Christianity. It's not even talking about Yeshua. The emphasis is on Paul,
Right.
who himself was a Christian bounty hunter, was a Pharisee. I mean, and they don't see this, and this is what I bring out when I tell people, why would you want to be part of a belief where you know your savior is considered a deity? This takes away from Yohe Wahe and his power, which is in the original writings of the Torah, which deals with the 5 books of Moshe. But it's only so much you can tell people that follow that belief, because I think what happens when you get hooked into something and people find out the truth, they don't want to get out of it, so they just stay in it. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want to get out of it because it's embarrassing. You got 30 years in a belief system, and then somebody comes along and tells you the truth. You're not
Mm.
going to leave if you're invested in it.
Hook fish
Right.
hook.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's basically, that's that's my
Fish
take.
bait. Yeah.
That is my take on
He's just like,
Christianity. So
Yeah, yeah, but there's another thing as well. Is like, I mean, they see so much that they're losing. Like, I mean, even though it's like your brain shuts down when you're seeing facts like before your eyes. You just want to shut down. You want to just close your mind to the truth.
oh
And it's like, I mean, look, I mean, even my parents, like I've been telling my parents for over 2 years now. Look,
right,
you're worshiping an idol, a false god, a
right.
deity. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And they're just like, no, no, that's it. No, what are you talking? You have to repent. You know, you have to
Yeah,
repent.
tell me about it.
You're gonna go to hell.
Um
All of the doctrines from these other nations.
uh, of a car, I see where you said he was Barabbas. He was also, if you go to Colossians 4:11, Jesus was also known as um Justin. See, what happened is the name, it was used by many people. So there was more than one Yeshua. If you go to the book of Acts, they have a bar Jesus who was a false prophet. There were multiple, and I did a program with
Like today.
yeah, with True on there were I proved there were like about 7 or 8 different Jesus. Okay. And we did that program. I don't know if you remember, True. We did that program.
Yeah, I remember it too.
Yeah, and you remember too. Okay, so there were
Yeah.
multiple
Yep, I
people that
remember.
had the name Yeshua, or if you want to call him Jesus. But the thing is, and this is not to be disrespectful for those who believe in the second book, which is the New Testament. Um, the one who is considered a savior is more or less allegory. This individual um, historically does not exist. He only exists within the New Testament writings. Um, Josephus, who wrote about him, he was actually someone who just, to my understanding, was persuaded by the Flavius dynasty people to write about a fictitious individual, for the simple fact because at the time when our people were enslaved by the Romans, they were trying to find a way to conquer our people mentally, and they came up with this character named Yeshua Bar Yosef, but to my understanding, he never existed. So,
Right.
but that's just my take.
Well, at this point,
Yeah, but also, Can I just add another thing as well, right? Just for another span on the works. Um, at that time as well, you had many different religions, which was in Rome, right? Where the Bible comes from, the New or the Holy Bible comes from, and they had pagan, they had all the sun worshippers and all these different religions, right? Apparently, according to what I understand, so you had the Council of Nicaea, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they created the Christian Bible, based on Roman idols, which was, I think, Caesar. So hence, you got the thing Caesar Borgia. You've got
Right.
the emperor who was worshipped as a god, and they wanted their emperors to be worshipped as gods. So that's where the Holy Bible came, and then this figure, this fictional character, Jesus came from, but it was actually giving honor and worship to the Roman, emperor.
Right. I know what you're talking about when you talk about the Council of Nicaea. They had multiple meetings, and you had, I think, over 300 different um, um, people, ministers at that meeting, and they were trying to come up with, um, I won't say come up with a character, but to my understanding, there was a faith healer, and they were trying to find out, and it was supposed to be Yeshua, if he was divine or not, and they voted in the divinity of Yeshua. Now, whether a historical um, Yeshua existed or not, I'm really not sure. Now, you have some people like a Zion Lex or others who are Messianic Israelites said there was um, a historical Yeshua. Um, I beg to differ. If there was one, um, his name has been tainted because anytime you talk about a Yeshua Bar Yosef within the New Testament, the writings itself destroy the authenticity of this man because he's considered a deity. So even if he did exist, the New Testament writings destroy whatever origins this actual person had. You know, like I said, to my understanding, um, there's a New Testament Yeshua, and there was an actual Yeshua that was a faith healer. But regardless of the fact if he did exist, um, his name is tainted based on the entire New Testament, where he's called a deity and he's worshipped. And we know based on um, Torah writings that the only deity or entity that you're supposed to worship is Yohe Wahe, the God of the Hebrews. So that's
Deal, what you got up there?
Is that crab or sardines? Or was that tuna?
you got a dead fish on here. Oh my goodness. Oh man, he's dead fish. Not a bass fish, so.
Man, something smells really fishy, man. What's going on?
Uh, uh, definitely. But yeah,
Oh
like I
shit, I
said,
didn't know I was gonna take it off. I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's all good. Well, I feel like this at this point.
I
Let's
thought it
get
was
ready
gonna
to
sit in the
set up
back.
for.
I was just showing.
No.
Yeah, I ain't
Let's
gonna
get
read this,
let's,
and I just want y'all to. This was
let's get
Adam was
ready to
talking
set
about
up.
right
Let's get
here.
ready to set up for close because we get ready to get into a whole new conversation when we dealing with that fish. You know what I mean?
yep,
Yeah,
Roman Catholic tradition, correct, brother.
Mhm.
That's what Christians really are, regardless if they have the African
yeah.
Episcopal Church. It's still based off of Catholicism.
Mhm. Yeah. So
So,
we discussed mythology this week. We discussed metaphors this week. Discussed parables. We discussed allegories because the key word here is one big mythology is the parent of this whole thing, and most of the Bible is written up in allegories. It's the second parent of it. And
Right.
you got these little small branches, parables, and figurative and metaphors. So,
I want to say
and
to the
it's based around history and science too. So I know
right.
that's in there too. So
What what I want to do is I want to give a plug and shout, and he's right here, my brother Eric the Mad Scientist. For those who are listening, you get a chance, look on our DOA hit list and check out the performance of Eric the Mad Scientist, who's breaking down mythology and angelology. I listened to myself a very great lesson by Eric the Mad
thank you.
Scientist. So
Thank
for those who are listening, go on our page, DOA hit list, and look for Eric the Mad Scientist. He's doing his little showcase on mythology and angelology. He does a great job, about 2 hours, where he breaks down the science of fiction, fact, fiction, myth, you name it, he talks about it. So,
and thank you. I want to say thank you, and I'm glad I met this group of people, man, because I've been doing this a long time, and I ran into so much Israelites, and they bashed me and told me I do magic, and I'm not of Most High, and I'm not an
no,
Israelite. So I'm
no,
glad that I met. You know,
magic.
I mean, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it got to a point where they were trying to stop me from getting on lines. Then, like people was
uh-uh.
calling in,
Oh my
like yeah,
God.
like it was a lot of
No,
stuff going on. So
no.
I'm glad I ran into y'all brothers, man, because that they like minded like I do, and man, we gonna man, this group right here, we gonna go far, man.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Well, you have to understand, anytime you have a group, there's going to be people that have, you know, their field of studies and expertise, and your field and studies and expertise is mythology, angelology, and different facts concerning the Bible. Mine is just breaking down scripture. um Vakars is breaking down scripture as well. True all around when it comes to everything general, basic, and beyond, breaking down timelines. And Brother Ben deals on the side of the Christianity side of it. So we all have different fields of philosophy that we speak about based on what we do as a group, as a unit. So that's how it goes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you can't when you have a group, you can't silence. See, a lot of Israelites like to silence other ones from saying stuff because they think they may lose fan base. But if you're losing fan base, then it's the loss of the person because they're actually losing out. When I sat down and listened to what you were saying on your show, talking about this mythology, I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of stuff I was like, wow, I didn't really know that myself. Because even as a teacher or instructor, whatever you call me, you're always a student also, and people don't like to say
yeah.
that. So I learned something from you listening to that particular show, and it doesn't mean any
Oh yeah,
less of
I learned many things from y'all. Yeah, I learned
right.
many
So
things from
we
y'all. So
we learn from each other, and this is something that a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to admit in areas that they're vulnerable or they may not know and stuff. So but you bring a great contribution to this group as being GOTT and DOA. So I'm glad that we have you on our squad. So
thank you, brother. Thank you.
welcome, brother.
You're welcome, brother.
So and the same with Vakar, the same
Yes,
with
sir.
Yeah,
same with Ben, and I like the other brothers to come on also. Yasun and
yeah.
Smashing Idol, they're part of the team also. Whenever they want to
Yep.
jump on the link, come up here, and we all will. And I was just talking about you guys to True, and I said I like the fact that we got a little faction now because it's always been me and True, Batman and Nightwing. Because I ain't no Robin. I call myself Nightwing. So it always been him and me. So when other guys started coming on, I say, ah man, we getting a little faction here, and that's a good thing, man.
Yeah,
So that's a good thing.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I agree also, man. I love it. I love the camaraderie. I love the unity. That's what I seem like. my whole walk is what I be searching for anyway. That unity and camaraderie among brothers.
Oh yeah,
So I love it.
definitely, man. So you still there, True?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening in. Just having a DOA moment. That's all. You know what I mean?
So, are we gonna take it home or we're gonna go for another 5 hours? No, I'm just kidding.
Some platforms do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, well, we're gonna
So,
close it out on this one. Throw the knife on the side, pitchfork on
okay,
the side.
everybody want to give their shaloms?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should leave out that picture right there. It's probably fine. I um Shalom everybody. This is the Eric Man Santos. You know, you can find me on all platforms, all my platforms, and right here on DOA. We gonna start building. I led a team. Thank y'all for watching. You know, so we got a lot of more stuff coming. Just so and thank y'all. And I'm learning from y'all too. Y'all bringing more scriptures that I never heard before, more different lessons, and I hope to learn more and hope to help teach more.
All right, all right. Anybody else?
All right, I'll go next. Yeah. I will say, you bid you farewell, brothers and sisters all around the world. And this is definitely the home of the truth, right? Not fiction, right? We don't do any parables. We don't tell any lies. So,
Right.
yeah, I definitely say, look, we send all of our love to you all around the world, all of our brothers and sisters around the world. And I'll give my shalom and may the Most High walk with you.
Okay, all right.
Shalom. Yeah, I'll
All
go ahead and
right.
go next.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, for everybody tuned in, I appreciate, what I'm saying, the family turning in. Tuning in. I appreciate, the panel, the elders, and the truth. I feel like you all are the spearhead when it comes to putting the truth out here because, a lot of guys like me around my age and younger, we need the truth. We need to hear it because a lot of us, we walking around out here blind and lost. So,
Mhm.
Okay.
That's
Um.
it for a
So
second. Go
All
ahead,
right.
brother Eric. You want to say it, and then I give you the last final.
Well, I'm gonna get something in here. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all the brothers that are on the faction right now. Eric the Mad Scientist, um, Eli, Fakar, True, Yasha, um, Smash and Idol. I want to thank you guys for being part of the faction, for bringing more clarity to the group. I also like to say total rabah to all the viewers that tune in every week, those who are in the Hebrew gallery that give us the hard questions or the questions that are complex. So we try our best to answer them. And I just want to say Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
All right. I say shalom for brother. Hello. Hello, Warren. Shalom, family. Shalom for brother Smashing Idol. He's not here right now. And shalom for DOA Yassin. you know, Eric, you want to say one more, and then we're going to shut them down.
just saying peace out. And hope we get together again. And I'm glad because I told you and I was like, man, we need to get the team on the panel one time, man. And I'm glad we got here. You know what I'm saying? And we on one accord, man. We don't think too much different, and that's so great. Even though we come with different aspects of information, it still collects and it gathers together, and there's no arguments. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem groups have. We don't know how to disagree and just move on, or disagree and teach each other stuff and build from each other, and that's where a lot of groups mess up from. And we can say, hey, I might don't believe this, I might don't believe that, and we can move on from it. And that's why I love this group right here. So peace out, y'all.
All
All
right.
right. All right. Well, he says, any question, any topic, non-biased brothers. Shalom.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
What do you want? I'm gonna kill you, you bastard!
It's the Juk. All you see is crooks. Shout out to Havoc, good looking on the beat. Forever P. Street life was good. About to go in, son. Look, red bones and red bottoms. Like Red Bull, we gon' give them wings, we red dot them. Candy rappers, send them in, we red hot them. Headshot them, go against migraine, get head problems. Big dummy, garbage rappers, we red fox 'em. Shoot an actor in high depth and red box 'em. Tip the scales in my favor, stay in your top 10. If life's like a triple beam, I'm weighing my options. Y'all like wild meth, you high meth. Keep a big popper, cause I ain't ready to die yet. I digress, or I'm just too intense to digest. Stretched in a Pyrex, compliments to my chef. Game ain't been the same since I left. Is they really crooks or just a pain in my neck? Wu-Tang, ain't no lanes in my set. Fresh pair of Nike Airs, I just do it for my check. I'll be the first to tell these rappers, get your bars up. Shout to P, you know it's havoc when we mob up. I tell that smut, date over, pull your drawers up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up.
I swoop in, shooting like I'm paratrooping. We all in, we riding, we carpooling. My whole crew, we diving, we platooning. Salute me or shoot me, Huey P. Newton. Your buffoonery is quite amusing. This is not monkey business, stop cooning. It's a method to my madness, I know what I'm doing. There's a reason.